one. Welcome back to another live stream debate, everyone. We've got a new guest here. If you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Stock or Sockcap. I stream on Twitch, do video games and politics, and um, I am a social democrat, agnostic. I'm in my late 30s. Uh, I don't know what else you need to know. Married, 4 kids, wife stays at home, lives the trad wife lifestyle, and I work. So,
Nice. So where should we start? I mean, we can start with your prompt if you want. I mean, you want me to just go ahead and answer that?
sure.
Here, let me see if I can find what you said again, verbatim.
I
Let's
think it was
see.
just. I think it was like, why do you still think that Trump is good for the country in 2026?
Well, biggest tax deduction, we'll start there. No tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, um, no tax on tips. Stock market has significantly outperformed Joe Biden's stock market, which 60% of Americans own stocks. So that definitely affects a lot of people and a lot of retirement accounts. Um, Wages and tax deductions are outpacing inflation. Uh, Economy strong. No trans women in real women's sports. No trans women in real women's bathrooms. Um, no trans in the military. Anything there that you?
Was that
I
a
can't
problem
hear you.
before?
Yeah,
Was
you
that
talking
was that
about
a problem
sports?
before?
You talking about sports? What are you talking
Yeah.
about
Was that?
specifically? Oh yeah. There's MMA fighters that are
Yeah, yeah.
transgender.
How many?
I mean, one is too
It's got to
many.
be dozens of them, right? If it's a problem,
I
is
mean,
it?
one is too many. Yeah, one is too many. Yeah, there should not be any man in an MMA arena beating on women.
What do we? Why do we? I'll give you like the Neil deGrasse Tyson answer. Why do we categorize sports? Like, why are there some sports where men can compete against women?
Because men are physically stronger on average than women.
Yeah, but why do we have some sports where they can compete against each other?
Like what sports particularly?
Like 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 wrestling.
Wrestling, men and women don't compete with each other in wrestling, at least not in professional wrestling.
And like the high school level, I do believe it's not segregated
Not in
by
high,
gender
yeah, no, in high school it absolutely. I mean,
or
I'm only
sex.
25, so I remember high school very, very clearly. Yeah, it's separated by sex in high school. Absolutely not. We would not let a man wrestle a woman. I mean, that can lead to other things like abuse of that woman, or can lead into sexual deviancies of that woman. So no, wrestling with men and women are they're segregated in high school. Yes.
Is it? Can I look that up?
Yeah,
I
go
could be
ahead, look it
wrong.
up. Yeah, go look it up. At least in my high school, from in Florida, at least.
Um, but so you think that one is too much?
I think one is too much. Yeah, we shouldn't be like how Yeah, of course one is too much. Why is one acceptable?
So like, I just don't think that a lot of problems are worth focusing on if it's a very, very, very
I mean, it took two
um
seconds to solve the problem. We didn't have to focus on it. It just took 2 seconds, like one and done, and we're out of the topic now completely.
okay, so apparently wrestling in the high school levels used to be co-opt or co-ed between the genders, and then they switched recently to separate genders.
For the
But they
last
had
20
it.
years,
They,
they've been separated.
okay, well, that's just what I saw online, but I could be wrong on that. But I just don't think so. Like again, to me, it's like one of those things. Like if let's say your house is on fire, right, and you're trying to put it out, um, and you start with the bush that's on fire in the front yard, and that's what you focus on, and you put that out first. Like we've got a lot of other problems in the country. Why
It's
do
not
we
like this
why do we
is. It's not
focus on
like
this?
because it's not like this is something that took months and months of consideration and legislation, and this is just something that was done in one day and it was over with. We moved on to other problems.
It wasn't done
It
in
was
one day.
done
This
with an
thing has been
executive
a
order. It was done with an executive order that Trump already had prepared before he even came into office.
yeah, okay. What does that not make you mad
Why would
that somebody can
so
come? because it's not. There's nothing. There's nothing legally binding on that. There's the next president that comes in can just get away. They can just do away with
Okay,
that.
well, Trump hasn't signed the most
So it's
executive
so
orders. Other presidents have signed
so it's.
thousands of more executive orders than Trump. Are you just saying we should do away with executive orders altogether?
I'm saying that if it's something that's important to you, wouldn't you rather have it be legislated rather than through an executive order?
Like you said,
Because what you're saying, right?
I don't think it's worth putting all that time and effort into it, like you said before.
Okay, so in the
If
next,
it can be done with an executive order, if the next president comes in and decides that he wants men to play in women's sports like MMA, professional boxing, and combat sports, he's going to get a lot of backlash, and he's not. That's not going to be a
but there's
thing.
nothing you
He's going
can
to get
do
a lot
about
of
it.
pressure.
There's nothing you can do about it. They can just sign away. They can
And there's
just
nothing
get
that you can
away,
do about.
do
And
away.
there's nothing you can do about Trump passing his executive orders. What's your point?
No, my point is that if it's something that you care about, wouldn't you want it to be something more permanent rather than a temporary
Sure,
thing?
but I don't. It
This
can be
is
passed in whatever
temporary.
next bill. Okay, so you
It's
don't
the
like any
same thing.
executive orders ever? Is that what you're saying?
I don't think that executive orders are the way to do things. No, I would like it to be legislated through Congress. And
You
you
just said
guys
two
have,
seconds ago you don't want to waste time on it. So now you want it to
no,
be
I'm saying
legislated through Congress?
no, I didn't say that. I said that you guys spent a lot of time talking about it for a problem that's so small that does not affect it affects less than like a percentage of Americans in
It,
this
it,
country.
it affects every single female professional athlete that's in the specific combat sport or
It does. It
specific
literally
sport.
does not. It literally
It
does not.
does
Are
because
you
if you're in
telling? Are you
combat, if you're in
telling?
MMA,
Are you?
then you're going to eventually have to fight this person if they're the world
You're
champion
eventually.
and you're
You're
pulling up the
eventually going to
ranks.
have to fight a trans MMA
Yeah,
person
if they're one of the
if you're
top
in
fighters
MMA.
in the world,
Can't you?
yeah,
Can't
if
you
they're one of the
choose your
top
fights?
fighters, they offer
Is
you
this person
fights.
a top MMA fighter in the world that
They
you're
were one
talking
of the
about?
top
What
MMA
trains MMA
fighters.
person?
I mean, I
Were
can look it
they?
up for you. Well, they were one of the best. Yeah, that's why they were professional. They did it for a living. They did it for a living not because they were amateur, but because they were professional.
There, there
Are
are
you just
plenty of
saying that?
MMA fighters
Are you just saying that there's no reason that we
that do it for a living that
separate
aren't world
sports? Do you
champions.
think women are strong as men on average?
No, I'm not saying that.
Well, answer the question.
No,
Just
I'm
say
not
yes or
saying that at
no.
all.
Okay,
No,
if
what
you
I'm
don't think, okay, then why do you want men that you admit that are stronger to go against women in sports? If you admit that they're not as the same strength, then why do you want that unfair advantage?
what I'm telling you is that okay, if you want me to be candid about it, I think that women are on average absolutely weaker than men when it comes to physical strength. Absolutely. But what I'm saying is that this is not I don't care about the bush that's on fire in my front yard when my house is on fire.
So you're saying you want
Okay?
to
What I'm
pass
saying is that you
legislation.
guys spent
But don't say me, guys. This is about you.
I'm
This
saying
isn't
that
about me. You said that you wanted
no, I did
to.
not say that. No, you're not listening to what I'm saying. I'm
I already
saying
answered your
shouldn't
question. Yes.
you
Sure, we can pass
as
legislation. I'm happy with the way it is, but sure, we can
okay,
pass legislation. We have bigger
why
problems.
okay, but are you going to be upset at Trump when this gets overturned through an executive order when the next Democratic president gets elected? Because it will be.
If it gets passed through Congress, it can get overturned too. So
It's much harder for it to get overturned if it's legally wrote into law through Congress.
okay, but the majority of the country, including Democrats, agree that men are stronger than women and men shouldn't be in women's sports. So I doubt it's ever going to be overturned
Yes,
in the first
there
place.
was I can't even remember if it was like an Ohio. This is what I'm talking about. This is a perfect example, you guys. This is the Ohio governor, whatever. There was some legislation that they were trying to pass on the state level that was about trans athletes in high school, and the Republican Ohio governor, I think it was Ohio, said, "Why? How many trans high school athletes do we have in this state?" And they looked it up, and it was one. It was one person, and he said, "I'm not passing this for one person. I
So
don't
you don't
care.
care
This
to
is a
protect
waste of
women.
time."
So you don't care to protect women if it only affects
What
one
I'm
woman.
saying is that it doesn't affect women broadly. It just does not. You can pretend that it does all you want to, but that's just
Okay,
not the
so you're
case.
fine.
Okay,
You're
we're
fine with
talking
men
about
at the end of the
less
story. Okay,
than
then you're fine with any man going into the sport saying that he's trans and competing against women. That's
yes,
what it
that's
boils
exactly
down
what I
to.
said. Yes, I want
Okay, so
I want
even though
yes,
men are
you're
stronger,
representing my take very very correctly. I appreciate it. No, what
either you
I'm saying
support
is that
them.
sports
Go ahead.
Why do we not allow men that are 5'1" to compete against men that are 6'2" or whatever, that weigh 100 more pounds? Why do we not do that? If it's all about gender, why is that illegal or not allowed? Not illegal, but not allowed in boxing. Why don't we let somebody that weighs 140
It is allowed
pounds
in
go
it is
against?
allowed in exhibition matches. In exhibition, it's allowed absolutely.
Why is it not allowed broadly? Not
Well,
in a single
because
case.
it's based on weight, because weight has a lot to do with strength.
Okay, so there you go. So you understand the concept that there are classifications, that we categorize stuff to try to make it as fair as possible, right?
And you understand that as well. So I don't understand why you think it. Do you think it's a problem to keep men out of women's sports? Because I think you're making a
No,
big something out of nothing.
I,
Okay, then let
I,
them pass the
no, I
legislation they
don't.
pass.
They're not passing the legislation. They did it with an EO
Some
because they
states are doing
don't
some
care.
stuff. Some
They
states are
don't
doing some stuff.
care.
They do care. That's why they
Your
passed it.
your king, your king does
It's not
not
my
care about
king.
trans people and
Huh?
women. He
You're
does
breaking
not
up.
care about it.
You got your
Otherwise,
cricket
he would pass it
wireless.
through legislation. I'm saying I'm saying that
First off,
your president, your
Trump's
king,
term is
does
only
not care.
not my king. First off, 35% of Trump's presidency is gone, so you got a lot more years to suffer. Until 2029, you're stuck with Trump. Second off, he still has plenty of time to pass it as a bill if he wants to pass it as a bill. So you're just making speculations and predictions.
He's not going to.
You don't know that. You're
Why?
making
It's not in the
speculations and
public
predictions.
discourse anymore. No,
The
I am
problem has been
making a
mostly
prediction, but
solved.
the
I can
prediction
give
is
you
based
plenty
off
of.
of the fact that, listen, the prediction is based off the fact that your president does not want to
He's
use
your
Congress to
president too.
legislate.
You're an American citizen. He's your president, like it or not. You have no
Yeah,
choice. If you
so
don't like it, fly out of the country and leave.
you
Live
can
in another country.
listen, you can be offended if you want to that I'm not also calling him my president. That's
No,
your
he is your
prerogative. What I'm
president. You don't have
saying,
a choice. You
what
don't
I'm
have a
okay,
choice.
if you want to get stuck on that, that's fine. What I'm saying is that your president has shown throughout his actions, throughout his first term and this one, that he does not like to use Congress to legislate stuff. He does stuff through EOs, and those
But
things get
Trump
overturned.
hasn't
What
done
happened when
even
Joe
close
Biden
to
took
the amount
office?
of EOs. Trump hasn't done even
No,
close to
what
the amount
happened
of
when
EOs.
I understand that there are other precedents in
Biden
history
didn't
that have, I
overturn everything.
understand that.
Biden did not overturn everything.
No, he overturned a lot of stuff though, right?
But not everything. It's just
A
some of the
lot of
stuff that he
stuff.
thought was fit. He didn't
Sure.
overturn the
So
tariffs or anything like that.
you're okay with Trump legislating through the fucking White House through EOs. You're okay with that. And you're
You're
okay with
with it. You said
maybe
every other
10% of
president has
those
done it.
surviving into the next. No, I'm not. I'm not okay with it. There's presidents that have done a lot of executive orders, but they've also worked through Congress to pass laws.
Okay, how do you know he's not
Laws
going to
that
do that?
have
You're making
staying powers.
speculation.
I am making
No evidence.
Okay, listen.
You're making
Okay,
speculation based on your own opinions.
Listen? Let's see if you can follow this. Why do we have criminal
illegal
histories?
alien immigrants. What about all these
Why
illegal
do we
alien
have?
immigrants?
No. You want to jump subject? Why do we have? What about criminal history? If you're looking at if you're, I'll tell you, if you own a business and you're looking to hire somebody and they have a criminal history, and let's say you work at a bank or something like that, okay, and you look at their criminal history and this person has 6 counts of larceny, are you going to hire that person?
How is this relevant to the conversation?
Because, well, just answer the question, yes or no. Are you going to hire this person that's got 6 counts of larceny at your business that you just
opened? It's not black and white. It's not black and white.
No, you probably.
You're not allowing any nuance
into
the conversation. You're not allowing any nuance. You're saying pick this or pick that. Everything's not black and white.
No, I understand that, but what I'm saying is that you're going to look at that criminal history and you're going to make a decision based off that criminal history and based off of your.
Because they like to help people that were put in bad situations. So to have disingenuous here and say, oh, this about criminals, that about criminals. Some people do it because they want to help other people.
Let me ask you on net, okay, meaning average, if somebody's got 6 larceny charges, do you think that they are going to probably steal again in the future?
I don't know. I'm not going to comment on that.
What do you mean? Okay, listen, you're being disingenuous right now. What I'm saying is that Trump is that person. Trump is that person. Okay.
Well, I'll answer your question. If you believe reoffenders are going to commit crimes, then why are Democrats lowering prison sentences and allowing people to get out of jail with no bail, no bond? If you think people are going to reoffend, then why is it the Democrat Party that's allowing people to get out of prison in states like New York with no bail? Like, your whole point is invalid to your whole political ideology altogether, all around. Not to mention you supporting
No,
people like George
you're
Floyd that
you're
pointed
applying this
pistols
wrong.
at pregnant women.
You're you are gish galloping. You're going off of
No,
some
you're
wild
gish
tangent over here. What
gobbling.
I'm saying
You
is
don't
that
have.
no,
I'm
I'm not. What
saying I'm saying you're
you,
not consistent. You're not consistent all around the board. You complain about Trump being a
I am
felon, but at the
consistent.
same time, no, you're
I
not, because
use
your
no. I'm
Democrat
not
Party
complaining
is
about him being
freeing
a felon.
people out of prison. No bail in New
I'm
York.
not. No, you're not following what I'm saying. I'm not complaining about him being a felon. What I'm merely pointing out with that example is that if somebody has a history of doing something, they are probably more than likely going to do the same thing in the future. Trump has a history of legislating through the White House through executive orders. The likelihood of him deciding to change his course of action and go through Congress is less than likely.
But
Okay, it's
he went
probably
through
not going to
Congress
happen.
more.
You made the point
He
saying
passed
it's
two or
only
three bills
30%.
already. Biden didn't pass two or three bills in his first
The
year, did he? So Trump has passed more bills through
Biden
Congress
passed a
than
lot of
Biden
legislation.
has. In the first 16 months, Trump
No,
has passed more
he
bills
has
through
not.
Congress than Biden. Yes, he has. You want me to pull it up? We can pull up how many bills Biden passed in the first 16
Sure,
months.
go.
Let's see.
Yeah,
And how do
pull it
you
up.
feel about immigration and why I'm looking this up?
What part of immigration?
Mass deportation. How do you feel? What should we do with the illegal alien immigrants in this country?
I was having this conversation with somebody in your Discord earlier. I think that, for one, you guys on the right like to paint this picture that Democrats don't like a strong border or that they like some concept of an open border, which is just not true. If you talk to any sort of Democrat politician or if you look at any of their policies, they are for having a border. Maybe not as enforced as you want it, but they are for having a border. When it comes
Wait,
to
can I
deportation,
interject? Can I interject on that?
sure,
The Democrat
it's your show,
Socialist
buddy.
Party, one of their policies are literally open borders. So what do you think about the Democrat Socialist Party? It's on
Okay,
their website. It says open border.
you're talking. Okay, you talking about the DSA?
Yeah, I'm talking about the DSA.
Was I talking about the DSA or was I
You
talking
said
about Democrats?
Democrats. Well, DSA is
Oh, so they're the
Democrats.
same.
They
They're the
call
same
themselves
thing.
Democrats. No, they're different, but they're still different. Democrats is a different branch of
No,
Democrats.
that is a different party entirely. Okay, that is somebody. That's a party that wants literal socialism, communism, all that shit, right?
Yeah.
That's antithetical to the United States. You understand that, right? It's
Yes,
not.
but
That's
if you
not
don't
Democrat.
enforce your border, but if you don't, I agree with you, but that's not what they think. But as far as,
Do you think that?
go ahead.
Do you think that Nazis are right wing?
Well, Nazis were socialists. I mean, this is a whole nother deep conversation.
No, no, they were not. They were not socialist.
Yes,
They
they
were
were.
not.
What does
Okay,
Nazi stand for?
no,
What does Nazi stand for?
national. It's got socialism, right? That's not what it
Okay.
is. That's
It
not what they
wasn't, it's
did.
not, yeah, but it was a different type of socialism. It's not traditional socialism, but Hitler believed in having a form of socialism and the betterment of the Aryan nation and the Aryan race. But he also believed in some private businesses, but he believed in nationalizing a lot of different things, which is a form of socialism when you nationalize private enterprises and private businesses, and the government takes control of them. And he stole Jewish
Do
people's
we?
properties and he seized the means of productions from the Jews. I mean, he absolutely did believe in some form of socialism, but he wasn't like the modern, when you think of socialism, he's not like the traditional modern socialists.
Okay. Did private businesses exist under Nazi Germany?
I just told you, but only the ones that were not Jewish.
Right. So that's not socialist.
It's not
Okay.
complete socialism, but he called himself a
Do we
socialist.
do we have socialist policies in the United States?
No.
Social security?
Social Security
That's
is
not
not
socialist?
socialist. No, because we didn't seize the
Why
means
is
of
that?
productions.
No, but when we talk about socialism broadly, we're talking about like some welfare essentially for the entire
Welfare isn't anywhere in the
population of the country.
definition of socialism. If you read it from Wikipedia, Oxford Dictionary, there's nothing that mentions social programs.
Why do we call them social programs?
The word social means it
Does
helps.
that have any?
It's for everyone. It doesn't mean it's
Yeah, what is
socialism.
socialism?
Socialism is
I
basically
understand, but
seizing the means of productions from private enterprise and having either the government ownership or having social ownership from a collective of people.
right. So if we are collectively paying into a system and then getting paid out later on in life through Social Security, how is that not a form of a socialist program?
Because we're paying into it together. Nothing has been stolen, nothing has been seized, the means of production hasn't been seized. No private enterprise has been seized, no private resources have been seized.
Are you, by the way, did you ever look up the how many bills Biden passed in his first 16 months compared to Trump?
Yeah, he passed three bills.
How many did Trump
So
pass?
maybe he did pass more, but here, let's see. Versus Trump. Let's see how many bills Trump has passed. But if you're not enforcing immigration like it should be enforced, then you basically are no better than open borders. You're just letting everyone pour into the country. Do you agree with Biden's border policies, or do you agree with anything? Did you like Biden?
I thought he was all right. Yeah.
Let's see.
Do I
I
do I
think.
think
Go ahead.
do I think that I don't really think that you guys necessarily even really care about immigration as much as you say you do, but
No, I do. I
because
absolutely do.
you, again, there was a bill that was
Oh,
going
I
to be
know what bill you're going
passed.
to talk about. You're talking about the bill
Yeah, and you're going
that
to say
Biden
that
tried to
there
push.
was Ukraine funding in it and all that
You've seen
stuff,
the
but then
live
that
stream.
bill
Then
got
yes, that was all in it. There's a bunch of shit in it that was not good. You've
yeah,
seen that
and
live stream
then
already. Then
I have not seen your live. I've seen some of it, yeah, but I don't know if I've heard you talk about this. But then that bill got rewrote, okay, and it
I've never seen any
excluded
evidence it
the.
got rewrote excluding that. I've never seen any evidence of it. I've looked this up several times. I've heard that talking point. I've never seen any
Have
things
you?
that were rewritten of it. What was the name of the
All
bill?
right,
Do
let
you
me
remember?
let me look it up.
And what was good about Biden? You think he was all right, but you're going to be saying that the economy is not doing well right now when Biden had 9.1% inflation, 21 million people unemployed. And I know that you're going to say, well, that was because of COVID. But if you're just going to make the excuse of outside influences affecting someone's presidency, I can do the same thing with Trump.
Sorry, hold up. Let me look this up. You're gonna have to give me a second because I'm old.
I just don't understand how someone could love Biden or think he was an all right guy and criticize Trump when the economy wasn't doing good on any metric. Home prices doubled. In my area, home prices went from $250,000 to $500,000. Beef prices went from $3 to $6. Steak prices went from $15 to $30. 21 million unemployed people. Um, I mean, I can just keep going on and on and on and on.
Yeah, so the original border bill was
What was
wrote
it
and then it
called?
failed to pass. It was the Border Act of 2024. So it was wrote and then it had funding for Ukraine and then they stripped the um they stripped it into two separate bills. So the Ukraine bill was put in this another bill,
It also
and then they had
expanded work visas. It allowed people under Obama's Dreamers program to stay forever. It allowed people from Afghanistan to quick pathway to permanent citizenship. I mean, there's multiple complaints in the bill, that I can go on and on about. But regardless, it wasn't a perfect bill, and it didn't even like it helped asylum process, but it didn't bring any more real border security. It didn't make budget for securing the border or putting ICE agents out there. I mean, how do you feel about ICE agents ripping people out of their homes? Do you think that's a good thing since we do that for every other criminal?
For criminals, I think it's fine, but that's not what's happening largely.
What do you
The
mean
majority of
largely?
people that are getting the majority of people that are getting deported by ICE do not have a criminal history. Aside
They're a
from,
criminal
if you
though.
want to say, you're going to say yes that they're criminal because they came across the border illegal. I'm talking about like a criminal act that
That
is
is a
something
criminal
that would,
act.
does that disrupt society in a large
Yes,
way? Like, is
yes, yes. They cost
how
us
so?
150 because it cost us $150 billion a year, and every single apartment, house, and job taken by an illegal alien immigrant is an apartment, house, or job that could have gone to an American citizen.
Why is our unemployment going up right now?
Probably because of the deportation, but we need labor shortages because we need to raise wages for construction workers and people that work in the agriculture business.
Yeah, you think that's going to happen because we got rid of all the brown people?
Well, no, we're not. It's not about brown people. It's about, I don't care if you're Mexican. I mean, quite frankly, Mexicans are some of the people that assimilate better in America because they have good family values, family culture. They're Catholics for the most part, but that's regardless of the thing. I could care less if you're black, brown, or white, or yellow, or whatever. They
You
need
can
to be
say that, but
deported.
your administration doesn't.
What do you
Your
mean my
administration
administration
very clear.
doesn't?
I'm saying you can say that you don't care about the color of the people that are being deported, but your administration very clearly is deporting people that are brown based off of their brownness of their skin. Okay,
Based on the
yeah. If
fact
you're
that they're
if
here
you're like right,
illegally? Who was deported because they were brown? Can you tell me one person that was deported because of their skin color?
all the people that are being deported right now. Do
They
you
were
need me to
deported
go
because they
out there
came here
and
illegally. They broke federal immigration statute.
yeah? No, I understand that that's what you think, but
Well, I know
and
it's not
obviously it
either.
is.
Huh? Go ahead.
It, it is, yes, it is technically a crime, but what I'm saying is that this is not your ICE is not focusing on criminals that are actually like in here doing drugs, selling
Oh, we're
drugs,
targeting.
doing
We're
any sort
targeting
of
those
forms
people
of violence.
first. No, we're targeting
Why
those
is
people
every
first.
ICE why is every ICE video that you ever see online in some suburban neighborhood, some white neighborhood,
Are you trying to say
why is it in
criminals? Are
some?
you trying to say, wait, are you trying to say Mexicans can't live in white neighborhoods? Is that what you're trying to imply? Or
I'm
that
trying to
brown people
say that
can't live in white
ICE.
neighborhoods?
What I'm saying is that ICE is a bunch of pussies, and they won't actually go into where any of the criminals are in inner cities. I don't see any of these. Why are we
In
deporting people from
Chicago.
fucking
We have people in the
Maine?
Bronx and New York, and because we deport everyone, we don't care what state you're in. We don't care if it's a white place or a brown place. We
Yeah, do
deport
you
you. It's
think the
not
people that are
if you're
getting
in a
deported from Maine are criminals?
yeah, they came in
Aside from
illegally.
coming
That
over the
they're a
border, yes.
criminal. That's
Aside
a
from that,
crime.
aside
That
from
is a
that.
crime. You want to know why I
Listen,
respect? Wait. Do you want to know why I respect immigration law so much? You might be surprised. It's not because I'm. It's not because I. Well, one of the reasons is because of the whole Republican thing, but that's not even the main reason. Believe it or not. The main reason I like to respect immigration laws so much is because I've lived in three other countries. I know exactly what it's like to get a student visa in another country, a work visa in another country. I know exactly what that process is like. I'm very familiar with it. And if I can do it as a poor kid coming from Florida, then why can't these illegal alien immigrants that, trying to come into this country, why can't they come in the right way? Work visas are not that hard to get. You can apply for a work visa and get it in 30 days, 60 days, depends on what country you're coming from. And if you're coming from Mexico, it's even easier, but I'll let you respond. And then there's a super chat I want to read. Go ahead.
look, if you want my honest take about just uh, border policy as a whole is that having a strong border is not a right or left thing. That is something that, like, if you talk to any sort of Democrat politician, they're going to say that they want a strong border. A border exists to vet people coming in the country to make sure that these people are not dangerous people to be in the country. When you internally deport somebody that's been here for 15 years, that's some sort of Hispanic mom that's been working for 15 years and maybe has a speeding ticket. You're deporting somebody that's been, um, you know, a contributing member of the society, even if they are not a legal citizen. And
Can
the
I
fact
comment
that
on that?
they've been here, well, no, hold on one second. The
Go
fact
ahead.
that the time itself of them being in this country and not committing crimes serves the same purpose as a border, right? It is vetting this person because, again, we go back to what I was saying earlier. If you look at somebody's past record, okay, and they've been in this country for a decade or longer and they have not been committing crimes, they've been working, taking care of their family, and been contributing, then the chances of this person actually becoming a criminal in the future or whatever is not going to happen. Okay. So the time itself is the same function or serves the same function as the border. It has vetted this person and it has shown us that this person is not somebody that we need to be scared of.
Okay, you said a lot. There's two super chats I want to read when I'm done saying what I'm saying. So the first thing is you said the mother had a speeding ticket, and the first thing you said the mother did was come into the country illegally. And you also pointed out that the mother was a net beneficiary to the economy. I highly doubt that because on average, that child that's going to the public school system is going to cost $18,500 a year in
That
public
child
taxpayer
is an American
dollars.
citizen.
Well, you didn't say
That
that. It
child is
doesn't
a
matter either
American
way. They
citizen.
shouldn't be here. Not all the
And
time are
I
they
didn't say
American.
anything about a child. I said that they raised a family here.
Well, you
I didn't
said
say
something
anything about
about
a
a
child. I said
child.
that they,
You said their kid.
but
You said you raised a kid.
if they raise a family here, I guess I'm implying that they gave birth here or they had a family here, right? If somebody started a family here, then it doesn't matter how much those kids are American citizens.
Well, yeah, sure,
And it
but they
doesn't
shouldn't
matter
be
how much
here.
they cost.
Sure, but I'm not saying deport
Why?
them, but they shouldn't be here because their mother should have never came here and have kids. That's why they entered illegally. But can I
What?
read the super chat real quick before you respond?
Go.
Let's see.
It's your yeah, it's your stream, buddy.
This guy says none of that is relevant because you're ignoring the cause of mass migration, U.S. imperialist terrorism, aka toppling and destabilizing countries that dare to pride their natural resources. As far as, I don't have much to say to that, but most of the people, even if that was true, I'll even concede that that's true just for the sake of the argument. I'll concede that's true. Most of the immigrants that come into America are not even coming from the Middle East. So I don't even see your point with that. The majority of the migrants that come into America are coming from Latin America, not the Middle East. And we have one other super chat. This guy says, the vast majority of illegals are brown, so you will see brown, but I see Russians and Ukrainians here deported because that's what's near me. So there are plenty of white people being deported, and there's plenty of people saying they're seeing Ukrainians, Russians, Serbs, and all other
Sure.
kinds of ethnicities being deported. It's not based on skin
Yeah,
color, but the majority of
the
people that come
the
here
va-
illegally are brown.
yeah, sure, but the only people that they're letting immigrate in the country right now are white South Africans. So square that circle for me.
Yeah, but they also banned Russia, Ukraine, and several other countries from immigrating here. So what's your point?
They've banned them from immigrating here.
Yes, Russian and Ukrainians
They,
cannot immigrate here permanently. They can come for a work visa, but they can't immigrate here permanently right now. No, because
that's
Trump put
that's
up an 86 country ban. You can Google it yourself. Go ahead and Google it.
I will. It's news to me. I have not heard that. So
Yeah, there's 80 something plus countries where there are currently citizenship bans. This guy says, but they are here now. We have to deal with it, so it's relevant now. You can't cop out because they shouldn't be here. Well, okay, then we can deport the parents, and the parents can have the option either to keep their kids with them or take them back to their country. Because I already know the Supreme Court made the decision. I'm going to respect their decision, even though I believe they shouldn't be here. So now we either have to deport the parents and leave the children here, or we bring them with them. It's really up to the parents on what they want to do with their children.
I,
But yeah, there
I just
has
looked
been.
online.
Go ahead.
I just looked online and it says that Ukrainians can immigrate here
What about
right
Russians?
now.
What about
I
Russians?
don't know. I didn't look that up, but I just
They can
looked up
come
the
on
first
a
one.
they can come on a visa.
Okay. So
I think
why do you think that the kids should not be here? Should those American kids be deported if
I just told you
their
we should
parents come
respect
in
the
here?
Supreme Court.
Okay. Does it bother you that Trump wrote an EO explicitly going against the 14th Amendment?
No, because plenty of presidents have done that throughout history, and he didn't implement anything, so he didn't violate the Constitution.
What do you mean he didn't implement anything? They
He
voted on it
passed
in the
an he
Supreme Court.
passed an executive order, and he waited for a decision to be made because he's respecting the
Oh,
process.
okay, so by that logic, you're okay then if another president comes in the future and says, "I'm just
It's
going
been
to
done
executive
before.
order out."
It's been done before.
No,
There
if
has
they
been
just come,
multiple
they,
laws, executive orders that violate the Constitution. We can go through them if you like.
yes, but that's pretty explicit. It says in the 14th Amendment that if you're born in this country, you are an American citizen, right?
Well,
So
it's not
to
really.
try to
There's
executive,
this has been in the Supreme Court. This
no,
has
it
been a
is. It is.
debate. So then why has it been a legal debate
It has
for
not.
decades? And it has between lawyers. It's been in. This is not even the first time it's been in the Supreme Court. You realize that, right?
It's not. It's not. It's not the first
It's
time it's
been
been
in
in
the
the Supreme
Supreme
Court.
Court like at least 2 or 3 times.
I,
So if obviously
I understand
it's
that.
open for debate.
I
But you
I
know what's not
understand that.
open
In
for
the
debate? The
last,
Second Amendment right. The constitutional right, our Second Amendment right, is not up
the,
for debate.
it's
And
the
Democrats have
14th Amendment's
violated
not
that
either.
multiple times.
The
Well,
no
yes,
no
it
no the
is. Yes,
last
it is because it's been
no
debated about. It's
the
been discussed about.
okay, the last ruling that I'm aware of when it came to the 14th Amendment, some of the case law that the Supreme Court cited explicitly said, hey, we have come to the conclusion as the Supreme Court, not this Supreme Court, but ones prior, have said, we have come to the conclusion that if you are born in this country, you are an American citizen. And now a new Supreme Court has looked at that decision and says, oh, well, actually, I don't know if that's the case. Right. So you're okay with that.
I mean, many
You're okay with
lawyers have
that?
argued about this. Yeah, of
So
course, I'm okay with the
so
Constitution and legal
again,
precedent being
so
questioned. Isn't that important? Isn't that what our
so
country was founded on? Debate and conversation and
so
questioning laws and regulations. Isn't that
that's what
the
a lot of
American
countries
way?
are. It's not unique to us. It's not unique to
I
us. That's
know
what a lot of
it.
countries are kind of. So let me ask you: if another president comes in and says, "I'm just going to executive order away handguns and everybody's right to own them,
They've
and
done things
also
very similar.
rifles,"
They've done things similar already.
the president has done that.
Bill
They've
Clinton tried
executive
to do an
ordered away
assault.
the Second Amendment.
Bill Clinton tried,
Who?
Bill Clinton, he tried to do an assault. He did an assault weapon ban, did he not?
Through executive order?
I don't remember how he did it, but how is that even relevant? They're voting the Constitution, which that means he literally broke the Constitution.
No, no. What I'm saying is that if another president comes in the future and just says, "I'm just going to executive order away the Second Amendment entirely. You cannot own firearms."
Well,
You
Trump
would
did an
be
executive
okay with
order on
that as long
firearms.
you would
No, I'm
be
not okay with that. Trump
you
did
would
it.
be
I'm not
okay.
okay with it.
Well,
He did
but
it
you
on
just
bump
said that you would be
stocks
okay with it with the 14th Amendment. You just said that you would be okay with doing it with the 14th
because
Amendment.
it wasn't
So what is the
enacted.
change
It
there?
wasn't enacted. That's why.
So okay, but you would be okay if they went and did that and then it went to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court
Yes,
shot it down.
yes, yes. As
You would
long
be
as they
okay
don't
with that.
enact anything, as long as they don't enact anything that's
So
unconstitutional.
so
Yes.
so you're just okay with presidents just deciding to write executive orders that are clearly against the Constitution and then take up valuable time of the Supreme Court when they have to rule on it. That seems a little bit silly, right?
I mean, I can
I
give
think
you a long
the
list of them.
Constitution is
There's
pretty.
nothing we can do to avoid that. What do you suggest? That we just have dictatorship over the president and tell them that they can't do anything?
No, I'm saying that the president himself, we should not elect somebody that is willing to just try to
Okay, well
go
here.
around the
Well, Joe
Constitution
Biden
through
did.
executive orders.
Joe Biden did.
How did he do that?
Executive order. Ghost guns and pistol braces banned. Executive order 14092. Expanding background checks for firearms. Executive order.
How does that stop you from owning firearms?
Because it's a ghost gun. Shall not infringe means shall not infringe. You're infringing on people's Second Amendment rights when people
Okay, so
own
why can't you
ghost
why
guns.
can't you own a rocket launcher?
Well, you can. You just have to go through the legal the routes.
Why can't you own a fucking tank?
Well, you can actually. You can. Anyone in America
Can
can
you?
buy a tank. Yes, you can't. You can't buy a.
Okay,
You can't buy a. Go ahead.
Why can't you own a nuclear weapon?
Well, a nuclear weapon is not an arm. A nuclear weapon is a nuke.
How is that not an arm? You can defend yourself with that, right?
I mean, a nuclear weapon. That it's a nuclear weapon.
Just I'm just okay, but you don't need a tank
Okay,
either.
so
Is what
you're
I'm
saying
saying.
there's loopholes
The
in the
point.
Constitution. The point is you're trying
What
to
I'm
say that
saying is
there's
that there are
loopholes in the Constitution.
restrictions. No, I'm not saying loopholes.
But
I'm
the
saying there
restriction
are
isn't in the
restrictions.
Constitution, though. But the restriction isn't in the Constitution. It
The
says
restriction
shall
is
not be
not,
infringed.
but they are infringed. You can't own these things,
Exactly. So the
right?
Constitution is being violated, correct?
So you want
By the way,
everybody to be
Bill
able to own
Clinton,
whatever they want.
no, that's not what I'm advocating for. Tanks, automatics, explosives,
Okay,
you
but
can
you
already get
cited
all
ghost.
that.
You cited
Yeah,
you
ghost
cited
guns are
ghost
fine. Yeah,
guns.
ghost guns are great.
You think it's fine to have you think it's fine to have guns that have no ability to be tracked that are
I mean,
3D
you can
printed? Do
already
you think
make
that's
them. I
fine?
mean, if it's illegal, if a criminal wants to do it, he's going to do it. What's going to stop him? A law?
Okay, but should we have more of those? Because if you make
There's
it
already
legal, you'll have more of those.
there's already a bunch of them out there. We've already had the ability to make ghost guns for almost 200, like 246 years of our country. You could have made a ghost gun.
Sure, you can scratch off the
So
serial
there's
number, but
already
then you get
millions of out there. There's million. No, not just scratch off the serial number. You can make a weapon, a gun from anything. And by the way, the assault weapon ban was an executive order by Bill Clinton, and George W. Bush tried to do the same thing. He did a semi-automatic rifle ban import.
sure.
Bush Sr. So yes, there has been many executive orders that have infringed on constitutional rights. And by the way,
Okay,
all of these were implemented. These people were not respecting the due process of waiting for the court systems to figure out if it's legal or not. They just go ahead and went ahead and
sure.
did it. So do I think that's a
I
problem
think
of
that
people going ahead and violating the Constitution instead of waiting for the Supreme Court to make a decision? Absolutely, I think that's a problem. I think
you
we
just
agree
said
there.
you just said it. You just said it wasn't a problem. You said
It
it's
is a
okay if the
problem.
Supreme Court
Yes,
shoots
as
it
long as they
down.
don't. Yeah, it is. Or
You
shoot it down?
you
No, they
said
have
it's
to follow the Constitution. That's the Supreme Court's
right. Okay,
job.
so but you're okay. What I'm saying is that I'm not okay with presidents explicitly going against the Constitution and writing
But
executive
they're not
orders to try
going.
to get around it.
Okay, so what's your solution then? Instead of just sitting here and complaining about it, what should we do?
We should not elect people that are trying to do that. Okay, that's all I'm
Okay,
saying. You should
Bill
not.
Clinton, George W. Bush, Joe
Sure,
Biden,
sure.
Barack Obama, every single president for the last 30, 40 years has done it. But
What
here's
did
a
what did
couple. Go ahead. What
what
did
did
Obama
so
do?
you said that, yeah? What did Obama do? I just have
Okay,
curiosity.
let's see. What did Obama do? I mean, I know there has to be some. If there's been for some every other president, it's mostly speculation, but I bet you I can find some. Let's see. Let's take a look here. But here, while I'm waiting, let me read a couple of these chats that we have here. Super chatters. There's a bunch that I missed. Hold on, give me a second, guys. Let's see.
Also, you never told me, by the way, did Trump actually pass more legislation in his first 16 months, or are we just gonna?
I don't think so. I think it's like, yeah, I think he passed two or three bills and Biden passed, I don't know, three or four. I don't know. I'd have to look back into it. I'll just concede and probably say no. Let's see. But they are here now. We have to. Okay, I read that one already. Donald Trump with the Democrats and Republicans destabilized Venezuela in their first term for their oil. I don't really remember that, so I'm not going to comment on that. But by the way, Venezuela has already destabilized their oil way before the Trump administration or any Democrats or Republicans got over there. When they nationalized their oil, they lost 90% of like their wealth because they weren't doing as much oil sales anymore. I don't like Euro, but you're making a crap argument. That's what someone else said, that they don't like me, but you're making a crap argument. Um, so yeah, where were we? As
I
far as
just looked
that
online.
goes, yeah.
It says I'm just looked online again. This is AI, so you're gonna have to take it with a grain of salt. But it just says that Bill Clinton and Obama did not write executive orders that were formally ruled unconstitutional by the Supreme Court.
Well,
He did have a executive order that was struck down by a federal court, conflicting with a federal statute, not a constitutional one.
which
But
which
it said with
it's
Obama,
it shall not infringe. I mean, I think we can both agree banning assault weapons like AR-15s and AK-47s is unconstitutional, right?
sure.
I never said it got struck down by the Supreme Court. My whole argument was that they were passing executive legislation that was against the Constitution.
But the Supreme Court would strike it down if it was unconstitutional, would it
But
not?
it never made it to the Supreme Court. You just said it got struck down by a low level federal court.
The Bill Clinton one did, yeah. Obama did not have any that were struck down by the Supreme Court, or the Supreme Court did not deem any of his executive
Yeah,
orders
I'll say that.
unconstitutional.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. But he did increase
But
background checks on firearms, which is once again against the Second Amendment, shall not infringe.
so you think that everybody should just be able to get whatever they want without any sort of background checks, or like, are you like some sort of absolutionist, or
I mean, yeah, if we want to follow our constitution, if these people want to scream that we have to follow, like both parties right now, you know, Democrat, Republican, are saying we have to be absolutist to our constitution. So if they're arguing that we should be absolutist, I mean, I say why not? Because if a criminal wants to get a firearm, they're going to buy it off the street anyway. They're not going to go into a gun store and buy it for the most part. I mean, sure, it'll make it easier, but let's be honest here. You can get, you know, if you have 20 bucks in Chicago, you can get yourself a pistol. A crackhead will sell you a pistol. Someone will sell you a pistol for $20. No amount of gun legislation is going to help in this country when we have more guns than people. We have like 10 guns for every person in this country, and that's not even including ghost guns. If you include ghost guns, then there's even more guns. So no, there's no
okay?
amount of gun legislation in this country that's going to bring down, you know, violence or crime or stop guns from getting into the hands of the wrong people. Here's another super chat. The law is written and then implemented, and then the lower courts and states through the districts and the Supreme Court is the last measure. Laws do not go through
Right,
them first. Yeah, that's what I was saying. They go through
right,
the lower level federal courts first.
right. But if they're struck down before they get to the Supreme Court, then they didn't find any problem with them. If it's something that explicitly goes against the Constitution, that would be, it would go up to the higher courts.
No, it doesn't necessarily have to. If it's struck down in a federal court, it's never going to go to Supreme
Yeah,
Court.
but what I'm saying is that if it's struck it down, then it would be constitutional.
No, that's not what it
By
means. If it's struck
no,
down, that means they either found something that was against federal laws or the Constitution.
no, I'm saying nothing. Okay, yeah. Sorry, no, you're right. No, if it's struck down in federal court or whatever, if it doesn't make it up to the Supreme Court, but the one with Obama, the one that I looked up, none of this stuff was struck down at all.
I already conceded on that. I don't think anything with the
Yeah.
Second Amendment was struck down when Obama was president.
Okay. But so when it comes to Trump, though, he seems to do that quite often.
With
It's
what?
not
With
just
the
like a
Supreme?
one-time thing.
I mean, it's not a
Yeah,
one-time thing with other presidents either. I mean, if I really take a deep dive, the same thing you're saying has happened with multiple presidents, but I don't even think it's necessary since we already found one with almost every single president in the last 30 years. Is it really necessary to go in depth and show you other ones where they violated multiple times the Constitution? And everyone in
I
the
mean, I
comment
think that,
section is calling me a liar saying that you can't get a pistol for 20 bucks. I mean, I'm telling you, if there's a crackhead that stole a pistol and they really, really want money for drugs, you'll be able to get one. But regular street price, probably not. But if you find a drug addict that stole a pistol, it's possible. And there's a lot of those out there.
I think like some of the stuff that he did, like shipping people off to CCOT, that's like a whole nother level of screwed up. I don't know. You know,
It's
if
hard
you're
for
if
me
you're
to feel
shipping
bad for Abrego.
if you're shipping somebody off to a foreign prison, it's pretty rough. We don't typically do that. I don't think we have done that in the past.
I mean, I could look
I
into
mean
that
that
too.
would also be a violation of your 14th Amendment.
Sure, I mean, they already conceded that that was the wrong thing to do, and they brought him back.
Right.
That's why he's
Yeah.
facing trial in America right now. There's mistakes that every
Right.
administration made. Like example,
It's not.
Barack Obama
It's not.
kept an American citizen in prison for over 1,000 days, accusing him of being an illegal alien immigrant. That was the longest time in history that an American citizen has ever been held with accusations of being an illegal was over 1,000 days, and that was the Barack Obama administration. So to act like mistakes are not made in our federal government is kind of disingenuous. Lots of stuff happens
I mean
all the
that's like
time.
no, but those things are two like different things in substance
Well, they're
entirely, right?
both, yeah,
You're
but they're
talking
both about the
you're talking
14th
about
Amendment,
like
are they not?
no, No, you're talking about somebody that got miscategorized or
Yeah, he didn't get his
arrested
due
wrongly.
process. He didn't get his due process. He was
Right.
in
And
jail
I
for
would
over
say
a
that that's
thousand
bad.
days with no court hearing,
Sure.
no
I would
nothing.
I I would say that that's bad, but that seems more of a mistake, right? In terms of like a mistaken negligence rather than a active ignoring of the 14th Amendment to try to do something that you want to do and then later get punished for it or shot down.
What part of the 14th Amendment says that you can't hold people in CCOT until their court hearing or for their
They're not in
deportations?
they're not in they wouldn't even be in the United States jurisdiction at that point.
Yeah, okay, but that's not in
You're
the
sending them to a foreign
Constitution.
prison.
It doesn't. Once again, that's not in the Constitution that we can't send them
It,
to foreign
it,
prisons.
there's I would say that I believe in the 14th Amendment there's something about like cruel or unusual punishment when it comes to the when you can hold somebody or when you can punish somebody for a crime. I would say that if you ship somebody off with limited due process to a foreign prison, that's cruel and unusual punishment, especially if that prison has a pretty high known rate of like people being killed in
Okay,
prison or dying in prison.
what about the Obama administration holding terrorist suspects indefinitely without trial? What happened to due process for all?
Yeah, I would say that's bad. Those are bad things. But again, I don't think that this is something that like Obama necessarily was seeking out. It's been a while, right? I
Seeking
was
out, he
a
obviously
lot
did
younger,
it. He obviously did it. You can't just say it wasn't on purpose. Otherwise, I can just say the same thing about Trump. It wasn't on purpose.
except that he's writing EOs to do these things.
Well,
Was
except that
Obama writing
Obama,
EOs to?
yeah, he was not writing EOs, but he was telling his deportation commander, Tom Homan, to, hold these people. He was telling the prison, like, you don't just get stuck in prison without someone giving orders to keep you there without trial. Like, the natural due process is the natural due process. They're going to give you your court hearing or your bail hearing whenever. And that's normal. The only
Who do
way
you
that that could have happened, it's not like this guy was forgotten about. Someone made the phone call and said, keep this guy in
uh,
prison.
who do you think is probably more involved in that process? The president of the United States or the immigration officers and Tom Homan?
Uh, I don't know. I've never been the president of the United States.
I would imagine that the people that are directly involved with that are more involved with that, is what I would say.
So like
So if
Tom
there's a
Homan.
mistake that happens, yeah, I would say
So is it Tom
probably.
Homan's fault then for deporting Abrego Garcia to CCOT?
Well, I would say the difference there is that again, Stephen Miller and Trump actively planned this out with whatever the guy's name is over there.
Barack Obama
Orban, is that
actively
his name?
planned this out to keep these people in prison. Anyone suspected of terrorism, keep them in prison.
Did he? If
I
you can show me
mean,
that, then I would. If you showed me that, then I would concede that point because again, Barack Obama was a long time ago. Okay, I don't remember a ton from Barack Obama, but if you can show me that he like actively was writing legislation to be like, oh, extending the amount of time that we can hold terrorists or people that are deemed to be terrorists without due process. If he was writing laws like that, then I would say, or passing EOs that allowed that, I would say that that shit's bad. Absolutely, it goes against the spirit of the United States or what we're supposed to stand for.
uh, it says that Obama had such a backlog of people that it just turned into 1,000 day. Okay, here's prolonged mandatory detention. Well,
It's kind of
I don't have
kind
any
of sounds
proof
like
that he passed any legislation, but do you have any proof that
yeah,
Trump passed any legislation to send people to CCOT? Is there any evidence for
he
that?
had yes, he had the president of that country in the White House, and he was talking about how they were going to deport people to CCOT,
Okay, what's
which
unconstitutional about that?
it's it's cruel and unusual, and
Okay,
that's
what
what the Supreme
Obama did
Court
was
they
cruel
shot
and
it down.
unusual.
But the difference there's intentionality there. I don't understand how you don't see it. You
So
don't
you're
if
telling me
I
there's no
accidentally kill
intentionality behind what?
if
Trump probably thought it was constitutional. That's why he did it.
Do you think that it's a problem that the president of the United States might think that something is constitutional when it is very clearly not?
That's the
Do you
history of
think
our
that that is a
country.
problem? No.
Okay, here, I got an article from The Atlantic right here. If you want me to send it to you, it says Obama makes it official. Suspected terrorist can be indefinitely detained without trial.
Okay,
That
sure.
was
Let me read it.
something that Barack Obama did. Hold on, let me send it to you. It's from The Atlantic. Thank you, Time, for sending me that source. I'm not going to take credit for getting that source because someone else found it in my chat, but there you go. So Barack Obama did the exact same thing as Trump. He violated the, if you want to say they violated the 14th, then they violated the 14th. I'll go with that. But the only difference was that Trump fixed his mistake. Barack Obama didn't fix his mistake. He kept that law passed to this day. It's still passed to this day. You can still do it to this day. But we got
Yeah, I would say if
200
this is,
people in
hold on.
here. Go ahead and subscribe, guys, if you haven't. Hit that like button, subscribe, join the Discord link in bio if you want to have some good conversations or debates. Go ahead, go ahead.
It says in this article right here that he was against signing this bill, and they ultimately signed it because it authorized funding for the defense of the United States and its interests abroad.
Okay, he
So
still
this was
signed it. That was
part of
up
the
to
bill.
him.
Yeah,
So he
I
violated
would
it.
say yes. I was, and he says right here in quotations, "I support this bill. I do not agree with everything in it, but I have signed it despite that." Um, and I have signed this bill despite having serious reservations with certain provisions and regulations in the detention and interrogation and prosecution of suspected terrorists.
A
So
bunch of
yeah, I mean
nice,
that's
soft
bad.
words. Yeah, okay, well, he violated the
Yes, I
14th.
agree. That's bad. Yeah, that's bad. We should not be we
But you
should
see
not
the
be
difference, though. The only
celebrating it.
difference was Trump fixed his mistake. He brought El Brego Garcia back to America. Obama, this bill is still in act to this day.
It's still an act to this day. Why doesn't Trump fix that?
Well, why didn't Biden fix it? Who?
I don't know. That's bad.
Well,
That's bad. Listen, I just think that when it comes to Trump, there's like a explicit attempt to try to break or go around the Constitution. We have, if you want, like, for example, I would say like a tax on free speech. If you're threatening to withhold federal funding to certain colleges because they're not wanting to, that you want them to remove curriculum from their school that your administration does not agree with, I would say that that's a explicit attack on the First Amendment, right?
I
You're
would say
deporting
I would
people because
disagree
of
because those
articles.
universities can be privately funded or they could be publicly funded by the government. So it's up to them. If they're funded by the government, they have to comply with whatever federal regulations and federal laws they want to do. Just like if I have a private business and you come into my business and you start, cussing me out and calling me names, I have the right to remove you. But if you're on the sidewalk in public, I don't have the right to
You
remove
do.
you because you can do whatever you want to do. So this is private versus public sector.
So
They can continue
the
on their
inverse then.
university, but they're just not. They can continue their university and their freedom of speech, but they're not going to receive funding from the government.
So you would be okay then if a Democrat president got in office and then just said to like a Christian college, like, hey, you have to stop teaching Christianity at this school and you have to conform to this curriculum that we want you to teach.
I mean, Biden had an
Otherwise, you're losing
entire
funding.
attack on Christianity. I mean, we can get into that if
How
you
is
want. I'm going to have to look up some of the details,
okay? But you're going
but
to answer that question. You would, because of your previous answer, you said you're okay with that
oh
because they're
yeah,
receiving federal funding.
if yeah,
So
sure.
if there was a
If there's a Christian college and we get an atheist president that doesn't want to fund the Christian college anymore, it's absolutely his right to take away their funding. Absolutely.
Okay, that's wild to me. I don't think that that should be acceptable at all. I think that you should have these types of institutions should be allowed to teach what they
Freedom of
want to teach.
speech. Yeah, well they can, but not with government money. They have the freedom of
No,
speech
no,
to do whatever they
it's
want. They can say and do it as they
sure.
wish, but they don't have the freedom to take other people's money and do as they wish.
Okay. I would say that the threat of withholding federal money is going to put a damper on speech. No,
No, because if I'm a business and I
no,
decide, like, no, if I'm a business and I decide that
we're
I
not. We're
want
talking about
to.
schools.
Schools,
We're
yeah,
talking about
schools like
schools
a
that might.
business. Go private, become a
Okay, so
private university, become privately
so
funded.
so okay, so if there's a Christian school that depends on federal money, I don't even know if they do necessarily, but for this hypothetical, you would be okay if a Christian school that
Yes,
depended on
yes,
a certain portion of its funding, you'd be okay for them to withdraw that money because they continue to, and that ultimately might shut that school down because they don't get that
yes,
funding. You'd be okay with that.
yes.
Okay. I mean, we just fundamentally disagree.
I
I
mean,
don't think that you should.
we have a federal statute that I think has been around for at least 20 years, and this statute says that if you are, in university, if you come here on a student visa and you're speaking out terribly about American allies and you're causing a ruckus on American campuses, say that you're talking bad about England and you say England sucks and everyone should stop going to England and we shouldn't trade with England anymore, they can revoke your student visa and kick you out of the country. And they can revoke that college's funding because that's a federal statute. I can pull it up. I forget the name of it, but I can pull it up if you want. That's a law that was passed long, long before Trump.
No, but you like that law.
I think that it's up to the government to decide who they want to give funding to. Funding has nothing to do with freedom of speech. The First Amendment is all about allowing people to say and express themselves as they want. It says nothing about allowing funding and stopping funding based on beliefs or anything like that. It doesn't guarantee funding. None of these universities or none of these people that are funded by the federal government are guaranteed for eternal funding, right, regardless of their beliefs. Because
Yep.
what if Harvard became like a satanic school? I don't know if you're a Christian or not. It's kind of irrelevant. But
I'm not.
let's say that this. Yeah, you told me that at the beginning. I'm sure you don't like Satanism regardless. Say they put a pentagon in the middle of the classrooms and they started saying, we're going to do baby sacrifices. Do you think that university should be forced to get funding
I
from the
think that
federal government because now all of a sudden they're doing baby sacrifices and you say that's part of their, like, maybe baby sacrifice is a little bit too extreme. Okay, we'll say
yeah,
that this
I said that
university,
like
okay, we'll say this
explicitly
university
breaking the
now,
law.
now we'll say this university now supports terrorism. They support Al Qaeda, they support terrorism, or they support, North Korea or one of our enemies that are
Uh-huh.
out there saying all this. Should we be forced to give them funding because they're doing immoral acts towards our government? Should our government be forced to give them money no matter what they do at all times? Is that what it is?
No, I don't. No, I don't think that you should be forced to give anybody money. I'm just saying that if people are receiving, to be clear, like Harvard and stuff like that, we're not supporting terrorism or like North Korea or whatever you're
No,
saying.
they're not.
Their
But some of them
funding
were
got
supporting Hamas, and some of them were supporting, all this
their
other.
funding did not get no, their funding got revoked
Not
because they
Harvard,
wanted
not
them.
or no, Harvard was for sure. Actually,
No,
there was
all,
Hamas
all
protesters.
of
There was
that's
people
not
in Kifas. There was people wishing death to the Jews and death to Israel, and different groups of
all
people.
of these all of these colleges were getting their funding revoked because they wanted to remove DEI like classes and stuff like that. That's
Well,
why it
that's
got
another
revoked.
reason. I mean, any of these reasons are fine with me. The way I look at it is Harvard is one of the richest institutions in America. If you look up how much money they really have in their pocket, they don't really need government funding. They're taking advantage of the government and the systems out there. So I don't really feel bad for places like Harvard. And also, Trump has done stuff for other universities. He's helped the black universities, the HBUs. HBUs were about to go bankrupt, and he guaranteed funding eternally. He promised funding for HBUs for basically, guaranteed it forever.
All right,
So,
are you Christian?
yeah, are you gonna attack it? I'm here to
No, I'm
debate
just
about
curious.
Trump.
Why? Okay, well, but you said that
I'm not
Biden
trying to
was that he attacked.
evangelicalize you, huh? Oh, you wanted me to go back into
You
Biden
said,
and what he did. Okay.
oh no, you
Well,
said earlier. You said that Biden attacked Christianity.
yeah, he targeted pro-life activists outside of abortion clinics, and he passed an act to arrest all of these people who are devout Christians. It was called the
He
Face
passed an act
Act.
to
Yeah, it's called the Face
he
Act.
passed an act to arrest Christians based on them being Christians?
No, based on them protesting outside of abortion clinics, which is, freedom of speech.
So, all right, I don't know anything about this. Let me look up the FACE Act.
And funny enough, the FACE
Right.
Act was actually the same act that was used to arrest, what's his name? I don't even know if Biden actually passed the FACE Act. I just know that's the act that he used to arrest people that were outside of abortion clinics protesting. And yes, some of them were blockading. Some of them were blockading abortion
Yeah.
clinics. I'm
Wait,
not
do
going to
you
deny
realize
that. But a
how
lot of people
how
were arrested that were
disingenuous
not. No, a lot of them were arrested that were not blockading. Just like a lot of people on
this that
January 6th were arrested that weren't even in the building and never even entered the building. Don
this
Lemon,
this
yeah, this
act is
same
some
act was used to arrest Don Lemon. Go ahead, go ahead.
the act itself. I just read it is literally used to, or the act itself states that you cannot use force, threats of force, or obstruct people that are seeking
Yes, but lots of
abortions.
people were arrested that were
Is that
not using
unreasonable?
force. No, it's not. I agree,
No,
but
that's
lots of people were arrested that were not using force.
okay, but that sounds like, is that a Biden problem or is that a local law enforcement problem?
Well, that's a Biden problem. He weaponized that federal
Why?
statute against people because he weaponized it.
Who who arrested those people?
Biden, who gave the orders? Biden or
What
Biden?
what do you mean? It is a law that then local police departments act on.
Okay, you can say the same thing about Abrego Garcia getting deported to CCOT. That was local ICE agents in the area that were, received
It
some
was
federal
not. That's
funding.
federal. That's federal. I'm
There's
saying
local ICE
these
agents too,
people.
isn't there, that receive some federal funding? Yes.
No, ICE agents are a federal institution. They're not state. They're federal. So what
Okay.
I'm saying is that if you pass a law that local police departments then have to follow, if a cop accidentally shoots somebody in the back right now, and they broke some law or they were over aggressive trying to enforce some law, is that Donald Trump's fault? No, it's not. What I'm saying is that, like, if
Yes,
that
but
law
Biden
itself
gave
is fine,
orders. He gave
you
orders.
you
He said he
he
literally this is
gave
what
orders
happened.
to all the
Yes.
local police departments to
I'll tell you the
arrest
story. You can look
all
it
of.
up yourself. You can look it up
Sure,
yourself.
tell me the story.
So the story was this. I think it was Roe v. It was maybe around the Roe v. Wade time, or maybe a little bit before then. People were outside abortion clinics. They were protesting, and yes, some of them were blockading the entrance from the abortion clinics. And Biden said, "We need to take care of this. This is a serious problem. We need to send over law enforcement to arrest people." And by the way, the FACE Act is a federal law. It's not a state law. So this has to be enforced by some kind of federal agency
No,
at some point
federal law
anyway.
supersedes. No, federal law supersedes state law, right? So
Yeah.
if you write a federal law and make it illegal to do something, then state agencies have to comply, right? So if you make it illegal to blockade abortion clinics and prevent somebody's entry into an abortion clinic, anybody that does that will be arrested
But
by
they weren't
state
blockading.
agencies.
And
It's
there,
not
by
like,
the way, there's examples of that not being true. Like I can bring up the Supreme Court cases if you're interested in hearing it. Both California and New York were told to start issuing handgun permits and concealed carry permits and allow people to have the right of the Second Amendment. Have they done that? No, they have not done that. The people in New York City that want to get their Second Amendment back, they're having to sue the city of New York. They're having to go through a court process, and when they beat them in court, then the city will give them their Second Amendment rights back. But for the most part, they're not doing a blanket thing of
yeah,
allowing people having their Second Amendment back, regardless of the federal law or the Supreme Court case. So it's been shown time
I don't
after
know.
time that states don't
I
care
don't know what.
about Supreme Court cases and federal law. And by the way, even if you want to make the argument that they have to enforce this law, well, who's the one that called the police to notify them what was going on and telling them to enforce it? That would
I
still
would
lead
imagine
back
the
to Joe
abortion
Biden.
clinic.
No, it's Joe
I would
Biden.
imagine the abortion clinic
Until the
would.
president spoke on
Yes,
it, no one was
I'm
no one
sure.
was getting.
Brother, this is insane. Do you think that Joe Biden is just like watching every single abortion clinic? Oh, there's a
He
protest
went
over
on
here. We
TV.
gotta notify the local authorities to let them know to go over there and arrest people. That sounds a little bit beneath the president, I would imagine. I would
I mean,
imagine
I
the
don't
people
think
that
so.
called would be the people. Oh, okay. So you think it's more likely that Joe Biden called the state authorities himself personally, rather than the abortion clinics that are having people being obstructed getting into their building. You think
Well,
that Joe
this
Biden called over probably the people in the abortion clinic?
Well, the same thing that Democrats accuse Trump of weaponizing the DOJ, we accuse the Biden administration of doing, weaponizing the
How is that
DOJ.
how is that weaponizing the DOJ? A law was passed through Congress. Okay, a law was
Because
passed
people
through
were
Congress.
protesting. Federal law is prosecuted by federal courts at the end of the day. So even if
Is
you want to say the arrest,
obstructing is obstructing or having threats of violence or
obstructing is not
actually
standing in front
committing
of
violence
abortion bill.
protesting? Is that
Obstructing
protesting?
obstructing is not standing in front of an abortion clinic. That's an obstructing. As long as people can get in and out, it's not
Right.
obstructing.
Sounds like they were, from what I read, not letting people get in the clinic, and that
Yes,
was the
I already
issue. That's why
conceded
it's
that. I already
explicitly says,
conceded that.
okay,
I conceded that some of them should have been arrested,
so
but all of
how
them that were standing
how is
outside,
it
no. All of them standing outside,
how is it
no.
again, how is it weaponizing the DOJ if you pass a law and then local authorities act on that law?
Because he's
This is a
attempting to
law that was passed
prosecute
through Congress.
protesters. Because he's attempting to prosecute
No,
protesters.
he's not. That's not what that law says. That law does not say
Okay, then why
anybody
did
that protests
protesters get
outside of
arrested?
an abortion.
So
I would
you're telling
imagine,
me no one was released. No one went through the court process, beat their charges, and released during that time. Because I'm about to find out
I'm
if they
sure,
did.
I'm sure. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, if that happened, how is that the president's fault?
Because he
If
is
the
the
law specifically states that they are to be arrested if they are obstructing, preventing people from coming in, or threatening or using violence, these people need to be arrested,
because the
right?
vast
If that's
majority
what
were
that
on
law states,
sidewalks
okay. And you
and
think
they
that
were
that is
arrested.
the president's fault or the fault of the local police department that arrested them?
It's a federal charge. They're going to federal prison and they're going to have a federal prosecutor.
No, it is a federal law. You're going to get charged by a local police department. You're
No,
probably, I don't know,
they give you federal charges. When there's a difference when the police come
what
and
does
pick
that
you
mean?
up, that means you go to federal prison. You
What
don't
does
go to
that
state prison.
mean?
You go to federal holding
No, that's not what,
facilities.
no, no. You have misdemeanors and felonies. What is it? Is it a misdemeanor or a felony?
I
If
don't
you
know.
if you were to obstruct, it's a misdemeanor. You're probably not going to go to a federal prison.
The
You're
FACE
probably
Act
going to go to a.
is a felony.
Okay, so if you are, if how much time are you going to get? I mean, that's going to be dependent on what case, but it's a felony, and you're like over a year, you might go to a state prison or a federal
Um,
prison. Sorry,
it's up
but if
to it's up to
but if it's less,
18 months in prison. It's up to depends on how they charge you. It could be if it results in bodily injury, up to 10 years. If it's just a standard offense, up to 3 years.
okay, so that sounds completely reasonable, right? If you maim somebody or hurt somebody, you're gonna get a felony. That happens with like assault charges right now,
If they give you
right?
multiple FACE Act charges, if they give you two charges in the same act, you can spend up to 10 years in prison.
Okay.
Does that sound
Is that
reasonable?
unreasonable to you?
Yes, yes.
Yes, if you're threatening somebody with violence or
You could
actually
just be
committing violence,
obstructing.
yes,
No,
it
you don't have to be
sounds
committing
reasonable.
violence. You can be obstructing. And even if you
Do
threaten
you think
someone,
that
you
the
shouldn't
people
get
that were
10 years in prison.
obstructing,
That's too much of a long time. For threats, for 10 years in prison for threats,
do,
that's crazy. That's
do you
too
think
long.
that people, yeah, that does sound crazy. It probably didn't happen then. Do you think that people that threaten
It's
people under this
happened
act
before.
got 10 years?
It's
Do you
happened
think that
before.
people,
People have been charged with this
okay,
and been
let's,
put away for 10 years.
with the FACE Act,
Yeah.
okay, let's look it up real quick.
Let's see. Long as someone's been put in
I don't,
prison for FACE Act. Let's take a look. It says up to 10 years if they've been charged multiple times. So let's see. Uh, okay, I stand corrected. The longest one person that was at the entrance of the abortion clinic was sent to 5 years in prison. So five
yeah,
years in
for
prison for obstructing entry to an abortion clinic. Yeah, that seems like a heavy charge.
just Was it the Lauren Handy? This is the
Yeah,
5
it
years,
was
the
Lauren
four
Handy. Yeah.
years, and
Even if she was violent, it was 5 years is still a long time. People
is
do
it?
assault charges. Yeah, how long does the average assault charge for? The average person that gets an assault charge is getting probation.
It's usually no, it's usually a couple years.
For assault? I know multiple people that
Uh,
were charged with assault. I've never heard of
it
any of them being
it de-
sent to prison for 5 years.
yeah, it depends on the severity of the assault. It depends. Like if you're talking about somebody that like maimed or hurt somebody, yeah, you're gonna more than likely be spending a few years in
Apparently,
prison.
they suspended her sentence after 3 years because they felt the penalty was a bit harsh.
Yeah.
So obviously, they even thought the penalty was a bit harsh. But how do you feel about? Go ahead.
She was just as a side note, she was a far leftist.
Yeah, well, obviously she
So
doesn't support
the far
abortion. Maybe,
leftist got
maybe she was
yeah, far leftist.
wrongfully jailed. Who knows?
So far leftist is the one that got the most time in your
It's not about
that
conservative
probably
or
doesn't bother you.
Democrat. It's not about left or right wing. Either way, I don't care if you're Democrat, a leftist, or conservative. I'm equal all across the board. If I think something is wrong, I'm not going to change my mind just because the person is now a Democrat or a leftist. If it's wrong, it's wrong.
But okay, but by the way, it also says like when I read about that lady that she had multiple violations over and over and over again, right?
Probably.
So
They
obviously,
still thought 5 years was a bit much.
in my state, you have like for larceny or whatever is a misdemeanor, but if you get three larceny charges, the third one is a felony for larceny. It could be a small thing, and there's a potential that you might face a long time in prison. So
Probably
it's this
about
it's
1 2 years.
this the point that I'm trying to make is that this painting that this is some sort of weaponization of the DOJ is just wild. It's just a law. People were violating it. People went to jail. That's
Okay,
it.
what about the
That's not
fact that Mark Zuckerberg literally gave an official piece of paperwork with his signature on the bottom saying that Meta was weaponized by the DOJ?
Meta was weaponized by the DOJ.
Yeah, they banned Donald Trump off of there. According to Mark Zuckerberg, that was all because of the DOJ. They banned conservative voices, they silenced people, they gave multiple, they kicked people off for multiple reasons. And this is according to Mark Zuckerberg. He even said this in Congress, and he even wrote a piece of paper with his name on it and released the official paperwork apologizing, saying that he'll never allow his company to be weaponized by another presidential administration.
He said that Biden did that,
Yeah. He swore under
or the
oath.
FBI.
He swore under oath the whole entire. He said Biden and the DOJ.
Let's look it up again.
Also, we got another super
So
chat here. Let's see. Simple assault is 7 months to a year. Felony assault is 2 to 4 years.
yeah,
And someone in chat is saying it was under the guise of misinformation. It doesn't matter under what guise it was under. It just matters the fact that Mark Zuckerberg admitted to having being weaponized by the DOJ.
but he did not explicitly say that the FBI or that he was weaponized by Biden.
He said the Biden administration DOJ. Biden doesn't control everything. At the end of the day, there's still the three branches of the government, and there's still the entire DOJ.
He said so what I'm seeing here is a podcast. He explained that the FBI warned Facebook about potential Russian misinformation ahead of the 2020 election. And then in the 2021 thing, in this letter to Congress, that is the thing that you're referencing, that senior officials of the Biden-Harris administration pressured Meta teams to censor specific COVID-19 content. Has nothing to do with conservatives.
And suppress a 2020 New York Post story about Hunter Biden. So
That's
anyone
separate.
that was speaking about COVID and anyone that was basically making stories that they I'm sure there's multiple things.
That was 2 years earlier, and it said so that was connected to where he explained that the FBI warned him about potential Russian misinformation, and Facebook decided that the Hunter Biden's laptop story was Russian information, and then they censored it for like 24 hours,
So
and
they
then they put
were
it back up.
weaponized by the DOJ.
That doesn't sound like weaponization. That sounds like they said, "Hey, there's this potential problem with Russian misinformation, and you guys should pay attention to it." There was
He
no
censored it.
demand.
It was a
There was no
demand.
demand. There was not a demand.
He
He
literally
explained again.
admitted.
I'll
Go
read
ahead.
this to you again during the 2020 podcast. Okay, Zuckerberg explained that the FBI warned Facebook about potential Russian misinformation ahead of the 2020 election, leading to a temporary throttling of the New York Post Hunter Biden's laptop story by Facebook. He clarified
Go ahead.
that this is Zuckerberg, that the FBI did not explicitly name any sort of Hunter Biden story, but this story was flagged as potential Russian information. Okay. And then
Well,
again, in the
go ahead.
2024 letter to Congress, Zuckerberg said that senior officials from the Biden Harris administration pressured Meta teams for months to censor specific COVID-19 misinformation. Okay. He noted that this did not include satire or humor, but this was not explicitly against right wingers. This was saying, hey, there's a lot of health misinformation out there online that is leading to people getting hurt or injured, right? And we should probably not amplify that. So these, like, again,
What about freedom of speech? What about private companies being private companies? And here, let me read you some things from the House of Representatives and Congress, because I'm gonna get this directly from the source instead of like quoting a podcast. House of Representative investigators, House Judiciary Republicans frame Zuckerberg's admissions of proof of federal overreach, citing it subsequently reports by the Select Committee on the Weaponization of the federal government. No admissions from the DOJ, but there is a 1,700-page report from the House of Representatives on weaponization, and the conclusion of that was basically Mark Zuckerberg admitting to it. I mean, there was a Congress hearing about it. You know, Mark Zuckerberg literally came to Congress in person. He came in person to discuss about this.
Right.
And he admitted to everything that they were suspecting. He didn't even try to.
No, I just read what you're citing. The Congress hearing that he had. I watched.
So you're saying the government had no oversight. So you're saying the government didn't pressure Biden or Zuckerberg. You're saying he didn't do it.
No.
Pressuring
what I'm
a
saying
private
is,
company to do something is government weaponization. That's what it is. When you pressure a company to do something, that is weaponization of the government. The government doesn't have oversight in the private companies.
No, weaponization implies that there's a victim on the other end. That's what you're implying.
There is a victim. There is a victim.
No,
the victims of misinformation.
You're implying that what you said earlier was that he was pressured to go after conservatives. That is just not true.
Well, who was pressured to do? Were Democrats posting about COVID, or was that conservatives? Who was complaining and posting and making?
Everybody was posting about COVID. So everybody was posting about COVID.
Okay, so Democrats were posting about COVID and saying that it was fake. That's what they were posting? Is that what you were telling me? Or
no,
was that Republicans?
Because it wasn't fake.
Okay, so what?
Because it wasn't fake.
What were Democrats posting about COVID then?
Listen, if I have a huge platform, okay, let's say that I'm like Joe Rogan and I say, hey, you know what? When somebody contracts Ebola, it's actually super good for you. Okay, Ebola's fake. It's not going to kill you, even though this thing has like a 90% mortality rate. Do you think that's a good thing?
Do you think the federal government should have overreach and be able to shut down that podcast? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I think that when it comes to a matter of
freedom of speech, that's a form of the First Amendment. That's a constitutional right. So you're against the Constitution. Then you want people's freedom of speech to be violated, all because of their political influence and their political power.
Okay, do you think that, again, I'll use the time-old example. Do you think that somebody can go up into a theater and yell, oh, the shit's on fire, right? And make everybody run out of the theater?
They can go on social media and say that, yes, a movie theater down the street is on fire. Yes, they can do that. They can't do anything with freedom of speech that physically harms people or causes distress. in person,
Okay,
where
you
people are going
don't
to be
think.
panicking without doing research
Okay,
or
so
sourcing.
this is the difference. This is the difference. Then you don't think that somebody with a huge platform that spouts off some nonsense. If I had Joe Rogan's following and I went up there and I said Ebola is actually super good for you, you should go find the first person that's got Ebola and you should do some blood to blood transfer, right, and get it.
Do I
It's
think
super
they
good
should be
for you.
censored by
You
the
don't think
government?
that
No.
that is no different than going into a theater and yelling fire and then
It's
having people get
completely
trampled.
different. So you want
No,
to
it's not.
violate
You
people's
the end
freedom of
result is
speech
that
then? Anyone
we
that's
already
giving,
do. When it
but that's
causes
a
real
completely
harm, we
different
already
law. That's a completely different law. Do you
when
want me to pull up the
no
federal
when
statute on screaming fire?
what
Because I can break it down to you if you want to get into semantics. It's not even comparable.
sure, well, why? What I'm
I'll
saying is
tell
the
you
end
why.
result nets in a lot of dead people.
Okay, here,
So
I'll look it up then why it's different.
sure. Okay.
CNN does that all the time. All these news stations do all kinds of things that put people in panic, that harms people. I can give examples. I mean, that time that they put Joe Rogan on CNN and said that ivermectin made him sick, and they put a gray filter on his face, and they said it's not a drug that anyone should be taking, and it doesn't help anyone when it's been proven
You think
scientifically to help
do you
people. That
no
was
it
an
hasn't.
example. Yes, it
No,
has.
it
It
has
helps
not. You're
people.
not
Yes, it
lying.
has.
No, the
You're
majority
telling
of
me
doctors
you're telling me
look,
ivermectin. You're telling me ivermectin isn't used for people. You're telling me it's only used on horses. Is that what you believe? Because CNN claimed it was only used for horses. They said it was a horse dewormer and it's never been used for any people's health in any kind of manner whatsoever. That was the claim that they
here,
made.
how do
That
you
was a
how do you
lie.
want me to
I
how do you
have
want me to
family in the
ask this
medical
question?
field. I have family in the medical
How do you
field. They
how
have
do you how do you want
ivermectin
me
at their house as we speak. They have a bottle of ivermectin at their
Yeah, I
house
don't
that
doubt
they
it talking to
take.
you. I
That they
imagine so.
take.
I
Yes, because
imagine so.
yes,
Listen,
they build
how do you
hospitals.
want me to ask?
They build hospitals. They build surgery centers. They teach doctors how to operate and do neurosurgery. They teach people how to do spine surgery.
Uh,
So if you're telling me these people don't know
how,
what they're
how
talking
do you?
about and ivermectin has never been used, send it to me on Discord. Whatever you got, send it to me on
No,
Discord.
ivermectin. I'm sure ivermectin has been used on people. The
Okay,
question
the
is whether or not
claim that CNN made was it was a horse dewormer, which is a lie. It's
it.
sometimes used as a horse dewormer. They're
No, it
manipulating and spreading misinformation.
no. Ivermectin is mostly majority used to get rid of parasites in cattle and horses. Yes, that is what its primary use is. How do you want me to ask? Is ivermectin widely used for COVID treatment? No, it
I'm
is
not,
not
no, I'm
widely
not going to, I
used for
never
COVID
mentioned
treatment.
anything about COVID. The claims they
We were
made.
talking about COVID.
Okay, but it's more used on humans than it is on horses. It's been used 4 billion times on humans. 4 billion times. It's only been used 60 million times on horses. It's only ever been
Uh,
implemented to 60 million horses. It's been used by humans 4 billion times. Do you see the comparison?
okay.
60 million horses versus 4 billion humans that have used it in the last 100 years? Do you see how that's a disingenuous piece of information? That's not true.
Let me look it up real quick. Let me look it up.
I just did a quick search. I said, how many times has ivermectin been used on humans versus
It is
horses?
primarily used in livestock and animals. It has
It's
been
been
used in humans.
tested.
That's
It's
what I
been
said earlier.
tested more on humans than it has been on horses. More humans
It
have
is
consumed this drug than animals.
no, that is not true.
It is. It
That
is.
is not true.
It
No,
is.
I'm looking at it right now.
It's been okay.
It's
How
used
many
in
doses
both,
have been?
but
How many doses?
it is primarily used in livestock and animals
Nowadays, but
worldwide.
it's been
That is what it's
yes,
used.
yes, primarily, but it's been tested more on humans than it has on
Okay, that
animals.
means that
It's
means
been tested more
majority
on
of.
humans. No, the majority of the uses.
That's not
The
true.
majority of the uses.
That's not.
Yes, yes, it is true. It has been used more on humans. How many horses versus how many humans?
No,
has
it
been used
has
on?
not. It is used.
How
No,
many
it is
horses
primarily
versus how
used.
many humans? They claim there was a horse dewormer. It's been tested on 4 billion humans.
It,
4
okay,
billion humans.
Okay, what does primarily used on mean? What does that mean?
If you're talking about active users, I'll agree. Active users, the majority of people that are using ivermectin right now are animals, but it's been tested on billions of humans. It's been tested on more humans than animals.
When you take that drug, okay, as a cow. I can't believe we're having this conversation. Is that a test? Is
What's
that the
already
same
been
thing?
tested before?
Right. So you're just, again, it's just safer on fucking animals, is what it
It's
is.
not. It's safe on
I mean,
humans
it's safe for
too.
humans too. It's safe on humans too. Yeah, but not for
So
COVID.
was that
What I'm
not a
saying
piece
is
of
that
misinformation?
you
Yes, it is. There's no side effects of taking it if you have COVID. What are the negative side effects if you take it with COVID?
you think
I can
that
take it
taking
right
drugs
now. There's
randomly
no
is
side
great.
effect. No, but if you're
There's no
sick and you
side
want
effect.
to, there's not any
Let me
major
look it
side
up.
effect. There's not any major
Let's
side
look
effects. Of
that up.
course, there's side effects.
You're just saying a lot of shit.
There's side effects for the COVID vaccine. The point is, was this not misinformation by CNN? Was this misinformation or not? They put a gray
For,
filter. They used editing software to make Joe Rogan look like he was sick. And this is the
yeah, I
same
would
kind of
say that
activities you would want to ban and make illegal. You want to outlaw freedom of speech because of safety guidelines, because it's the betterment of humanity. For someone that
no,
cries and saying that Trump violates the Constitution, you sure seem to want to violate it yourself.
no. What I'm saying is that when it comes to the safety of the public, yes, banning some misinformation is probably in our best interest, right? Again, you want me to read these to you? Neurological issues, confusion, seizures, coma, hives, trouble breathing, swelling of the face and lips, vision changes, eye pain, swelling, cardiovascular
I
problems,
already conceded that
hypertension,
there's
liver
side
damage.
effect. Yeah, there's side effect for every drug,
Yeah,
including the
the the
vaccines.
right. The point is that you shouldn't just push a random drug that's not been FDA approved or not approved to treat something on the public masses
It's
because
been
all
approved for
drugs have
humans.
some.
It's been approved for
Yes, but
humans. And
okay, if you have a if you have I'm trying to think of an example. If you have some health problem and I prescribe a medication that does fuck all to help that health problem, is that a good thing to do, or am I just giving you no benefit and then causing you or potentially having you have side effects that worsen your condition or give you another condition because you're taking a medication for no reason? Why do we even take medications to begin with? We take medications to alleviate a problem or a symptom that we're having, and the side effects of that medication we have deemed are better than the primary problem, right? I'll give you an example. I take heart medication, right? Or not heart medication. I take blood pressure medication. So there is side effects to that medication. But the primary reason I take that medication is so that I don't have extremely high blood pressure that can lead to stroke, right? Or a heart attack. But I wouldn't just take a random medication that does nothing for my condition, that's not tested for my condition. I'm just adding side effects for no reason. That doesn't make any sense.
if you want me to look up that, we can. But I'd like to go a little bit back into the movie and the fire thing. There was a Supreme Court case. Supreme Court case 1969, Brandon Bergs versus Ohio. The Supreme Court narrowed the rule for regulation of dangerous speech. For speech to lose First Amendment protection for causing danger, it must intended and likely to incite imminent lawless action.
Uh-huh.
So the reason
Is that
that
it?
something like misinformation, the reason something like misinformation would not qualify, because misinformation isn't going to make you do some imminent illegal illawful action. But if you scream fire in a movie theater, you might destroy private property trying to escape. So there's a major
What's
difference
the
between
what's the act that you just
it's a
what is it
Supreme
that you
Court
just cited?
case, Brandon Berg versus Ohio. Imminent lawless action or imminent physical harm?
Imminent physical harm. So you think that if you go online and you spout a bunch of nonsense and that gets somebody killed, is that not imminent physical harm to you?
No, because it's not going to cause imminent I mean, if you want to see what imminent physical harm is by the Supreme Court, we can too. Imminent physical harm, what is it, Supreme Court? I'm sure they've talked about this too before. Let's see. Imminent physical harm, Supreme Court. When evaluating whether free speech loses the First Amendment protection because it risks physical harm, the Supreme Court does not allow the government to restrict speech based on vague or distinct dangers. Vague or distinct dangers. What you're describing right now
I
is a
would.
vague or distinct danger.
Okay.
It has to be imminent physical harm. The speaker, let's see, the incitement standard, Brandon versus Ohio, 1968. Intent, the speaker specifically intends to incite violence or lawlessness. Imminence, the illegal or violent actions must be intended to happen immediately, seconds or minutes after. Likelihood, the speech is generally likely to produce that imminent violence. So if I tell you
Okay.
something, if I tell you, this medication is good for you or this medication is good for you, does that mean that you're going to be able to get access to that medication in the next couple minutes? Likely
No,
not.
of
So
course not.
it's not imminent then. It's not imminent danger. It's not imminent violence. By the Constitution, the prevention of any speech, not a call to action and violence is unlawful. Period. Like,
Okay. Okay. So you are okay then. Let's say that. Trying to think of an example from the other side. You would be okay then if somebody would give some. Let's see. I'm trying to think here.
any podcaster, any social media company, any person can put up whatever they want. And I think that's all constitutional. No one should be, no one's opinion should be hurt. No one's opinion should be crushed. Like, Elon Musk bought Twitter for a reason. It was a failing platform. It wasn't very popular, and he allowed people to come on there and say whatever they want.
If somebody, like, let's say you had a family member that watches Joe Rogan, listened to it, and took a bunch of ivermectin, like a way too high of a dose, and then got themselves killed or in a
Then I would
coma,
call them
you're
stupid.
just okay with that?
They would be stupid.
So you are okay with it?
Yeah, because they're stupid. Every doctor tells you before you take any medications, take professional medical advice. Everyone knows this, unless you're very low IQ and very just uneducated individual. Even children know this. Even if you have any kids that are 12 or 13, they probably know not to take drugs without doctor's approval. Is Joe Rogan a doctor? No,
Yeah.
Everyone knows Joe Rogan isn't a doctor.
No, of course not. So you probably shouldn't be pushing medical advice if you're not a doctor.
I will say, yeah, I'll agree with you. I'll agree with you on that 100%. But it doesn't mean that Joe Rogan should be silenced or imprisoned or have his platform removed.
Well, then we just disagree there because it depends on the severity of what's going on, right? You guys like to talk about being like. Go ahead. How many people took ivermectin? I would imagine a lot of people took it, a lot more people than would have taken it otherwise if that hadn't been said online. It's become a narrative. I mean, you actually believe that it's good for COVID, right? Might be the win. Okay. I don't know where the best place to put this. Shit. You sound a bit.
Hello, can you guys hear him? Because I can't hear him at all.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Great. I think it was on my end. I had to fix something.
Okay.
Or maybe you were muted. I don't know. But yeah, if someone's going to give medical advice online, then, whatever. They're not a doctor. You shouldn't be taking their advice.
I mean, the problem is, yes, I agree with you that those people are stupid that listen to that. The problem is that, like, there's literally data on it right now. You can go and look up, like, in red states, you guys had a higher mortality rate because you listened to your fat fucking president say, hey, look.
Actually, California had one of the highest mortality rates. Well, they had the largest lockdowns, and they were ranked number 20 in mortality. And then you got places like Nevada,
ranked 20. Wait,
like
what
South
was the
Dakota, Wyoming? And you got all these places that were conservative, and they didn't catch COVID.
All right,
and by the way, who was more the majority of people that were president during then was Joe Biden. Trump was only
Mhm.
president for 8 months of the pandemic, and that shit lasted like 3 years.
Yeah, that's yep. Yeah, okay. By per capita, Arizona was first, and then Oklahoma,
Arizona is a
Mississippi,
purple state.
I understand that. Then right after that, you have Oklahoma, Mississippi, West Virginia, New Mexico, Arkansas, Alabama, Tennessee. Right? These are all red states. Well, a
California
lot of
had
these
the
are.
highest total amount of deaths,
Yes,
300,000
because
deaths.
California has a lot of people in it. Why
Okay.
would you look that up? Of course, they're going to have the most
Is it
deaths,
not
or they're
what
going
you
to have a
just
high
looked
number of
up?
deaths. I said per capita.
Per capita is
So the
California
amount.
as well.
No, it's you said 20, right? 20.
Okay, New Mexico,
It's
that's a
almost
Democrat
halfway down the
state.
list. Yes. Okay. My point is the majority of these states were red because you guys listened to Trump saying it's not a threat. Okay.
It
COVID's
wasn't
not a
a
threat.
threat to
And
me.
more of
It
you
wasn't a
guys
threat to me. I
died.
didn't get a jab. I've
No
traveled all
shit,
around the
because you're
country and around the
young.
world. Okay,
You're
so it's only a
young.
threat for old people then.
That's how viruses work. Yes. Old people usually die more from viruses. Yes. Is that okay? Should we be okay with them dying from viruses or when we can prevent it?
COVID, the
Do you
vaccine
not
didn't
love? Do you
prevent
have
it.
old people in your life that
Yeah,
you
they
don't
took the
love, or
vaccine and they
what's?
all got, every single old person I know that took the vaccine got COVID like 5 or 6 times.
Yes, because brother, do you ever get a flu shot, or have you gotten a flu shot in your
No,
life?
not in the last 15
No.
years. No.
Have you ever gotten a flu shot in your life?
Maybe once.
Okay. Do flu shots prevent you from getting the flu 100%?
No.
What is a? No, of course not. Flu shot is a vaccine. It's what it is. What do you think a vaccine is? But can I even ask you that
It
question? Like,
depends. It
can you
depends on which
explain to?
vaccine. If you're asking me how the flu vaccine works, it works by basically, in simple terms, it basically puts the enzymes of the flu virus into your body, and your body builds some
Mhm.
kind of immunity towards it, and it can
Yeah,
also
your
cause you
body
to get
responds to
sick.
it.
That's why when people get
Yeah.
flu vaccines, sometimes afterwards they feel a little bit of nauseous or a little bit of sick.
Right.
Same thing with the COVID
Yes.
vaccine. People that got it
Yes.
reported feelings of being sick and weak for several days, and they said that was a
Yes.
thing, like a side effect of it.
Yes. Yes. Because again, any medication, you're going to be weighing the risks to the
And
side effect,
if
or
lockdown
the
was
risk
the
to the
answer,
benefit.
then why was California still so high up on the death rate when they literally had fines and
Yes.
jailing for people that went
I would.
outside? If
I
it was
would
so
imagine
effective,
probably. I would imagine. Well, first off, you said it was ranked 20 in this, so
I'll
it
have to
sounds
check
like
that
they did
out
pretty
again.
good.
Let's see.
It sounds like it's lower there on the list than all of those red states. Okay, first off, and then secondly,
They
I
had the
would
most
imagine
total
any.
deaths.
Yes, because they have a lot of people. That doesn't mean anything. I would imagine Texas also has a lot of deaths. I would any of these big states probably that have a lot of people in them are probably going to have higher death counts.
But they
That
had the
doesn't mean
most
anything.
infections too. They were number one in raw infections.
Yes, because they have a lot of people. That's like
50,
saying,
no, no, it's per
wow,
capita. 50% of their population, more than 50% of their population, they were rated number
oh,
one in terms of percentage wise. More than 50% of their population at some time or another got COVID.
and
So if
then
it was
a
really
lot less of
protecting,
them. You just cited infections, and then also compare the
yeah, it's
infections to the
not
amount of people
because,
that
yeah,
died.
people that
It's a lot
die
less,
based
right?
on
Because people took it seriously.
no, because people that die, like you already conceded to, was mostly old people. So what states had the most
Brother,
elderly
that's how.
population?
That doesn't mean anything. That
It
doesn't mean
does. The
anything.
states
Old
with the
people,
most
no,
old people are gonna die.
no, old people just die from viruses more often than young people. That's, but that's what we're concerned about. That's why we're getting vaccinated. Is for
Yes,
young, usually
but
young people, like
the
very
states
young,
with the
like
most old
babies and
people
old
were ranked
people.
up there.
Yeah, I mean that just checks out, I would imagine. But what all these red states that I'm talking about, Mississippi, Tennessee, all those,
Yes,
do they
Florida
just
has the
have?
largest. Florida, Mississippi
Florida
has
was
pretty
down there.
good. Yeah, Florida was number three, I think.
Okay,
The point is, viruses are always going to affect disproportionately old people and like babies. Okay, sicknesses and all that stuff. What
Okay, Mississippi
your
probably
immune
has a lot of
systems,
babies because it's affordable, it's good for families.
brother. The point is that you guys did not take the warnings to COVID seriously, and more people died in those states because of what
But the
writing
majority of
this
the
shit
people
off
that
is.
died were probably staying inside.
What does that mean?
I don't know what it
What do you?
means. I'm
I
kind
know
of
you
over
don't
the
know what that
topic
means
of
because it
COVID.
doesn't mean anything. Doesn't
It
mean
means that
anything.
social distancing didn't work, probably. That's probably what it means. All the
It
people
means
that are
that,
elderly that I know that contracted were staying inside.
and then were their
And
family
social
members, everybody
distancing.
around them?
No, they were social distancing.
Yeah.
My grandma,
Bro-
she's a Democrat. She got every single jab. She got the COVID like 5 or 6
Uh-huh.
times. She social distanced. She never left her house, and she still got the COVID like 6
Yeah.
times. And that
None
was
of this
after
stuff is.
getting every booster shot.
I understand, but none of that stuff is a guarantee that you're not going to get sick. Okay, your body
They
reacts to
reported
something
feeling sick right
inside of it.
after it.
Sure, but I'm just saying that like these things help reduce your risk of getting the infection or getting very sick from the infection. Just
Sure,
like every
allegedly.
vaccine. Yeah, not allegedly. That's how every vaccine has worked since the dawn of time. That's
All
how it
right.
works.
How
Okay.
do you feel about trans women going into women's bathrooms?
I don't care about it.
You don't care about it, so it's fine if it
No,
happens. If
I
it doesn't
don't care
happen,
about it. I don't
okay,
care.
it's fine.
Wait,
It's
wait,
fine. It's fine if it
wait.
happens. Then.
Why do you care about it?
Because I have lots of women in my family. I have a woman myself.
What
I
are
don't want any of them.
those
Huh?
trans women? They're gonna go in there and diddle all the women in the
I mean,
bathroom. What are they doing?
yeah, it's happened before. I
Yeah,
can
that's
cite you over
happening. Hey,
50
why don't you show
cases.
me?
I can cite
Why
you
don't you
over
show?
50
Oh,
cases.
50 cases out of a
Yes,
country with
over 50 cases.
330
I
million,
can cite
over
you
50
thousands
cases,
of cases if you want. It just depends how much
thousands of
time you
cases.
have. Just depends
No,
how much time you
you know
have.
what? You can send me those thousands of cases in my DMs. I am sure,
I
absolutely,
understand
that
you
I'm
don't
gonna
care
get
about
those.
women. If it's only one woman that gets hurt or killed or victimized, you don't care about it. You've shown that with trans women in real
No,
women's sports. You
that's
said you
not
don't care
what
about
I'm,
trans women in women's sports because it's only one woman that's getting victimized. Only
brother,
one woman was
brother.
victimized. It's not enough to matter, right?
What bathroom do you think has the highest potential of you getting sexually assaulted in as a
The
kid?
woman's bathroom. As a woman.
No, no. Who do you think commits the majority of sexual assaults?
Men,
Men. Yes, there you go. Men, not trans men. Men. I
trans women are
worry
men.
more about
Trans women are men.
the. Oh, are they?
Yes, they're men. They're born with a penis. They're men.
So what I'm saying is that straight white, well, not necessarily white. I don't think it has anything to
Oh,
do with race,
white?
but
White?
just,
It does have to do
no,
with
no,
race.
no,
White. You don't like the
no, no,
white
no. It
man.
doesn't. No, no. What I'm saying is that straight men have a higher percentage, from my understanding,
Why
of
does it matter if they're straight?
sex.
Being
Oh,
straight or bisexual has nothing to do with crime
sure,
statistics.
maybe. Okay, I could be wrong there. I'm just saying, just men, just regular men. I am more worried about my kids going into a male bathroom without me being there
That's why you
than
should
I
go
would be.
there.
Huh?
That's why you should go in the
I'm
bathroom with
saying
your
is,
son or
why is it a problem? It's not. So you just want to continue. You want to contain all of the sexual
it's
assaults.
trans
And
women. No, it's trans women
no,
and
no,
men.
no, no,
I'm
no. It's
agreeing
not.
with you. Men do most of the
No, no, no.
crime and the
What
sexual
I'm asking
assaults.
you.
Trans women are men.
Okay, so you want to contain it to the men's bathroom. That's what you say. I don't care. I just want to keep. I want the men's bathroom to have all the kids getting diddled in it. That's what you want. Is what you're
What are
saying.
the statistics? You got any supporting
You say
information to show?
you're very scared about the trans women going in the women's bathroom, but you're not scared at all. You haven't seemed to make a case for it.
Because
The bathroom where kids get.
other men can protect children and other people in the men's bathroom. Women
Oh,
cannot fight off a
women can't.
man.
They can't.
No,
They
women
can't
cannot
protect.
fight off a man. No,
They can't. Oh, okay.
if five average women
Oh,
try to fight me off and
this is
attack me, it would
this
be
is it.
impossible.
I'm
It would be
sure. I'm
impossible.
sure that this is the scenario that's happened quite often, where the trans woman goes into the women's bathroom, diddles the kid, and gets away
It doesn't have to be a
scot-free.
kid. It's not about kids. It's about anyone that's
Okay,
even
they
if they
do
don't get
sexually
diddled.
assault the woman.
Even if they don't
They
get diddled,
sexually
why
assault.
does your wife and daughter have to feel uncomfortable? Even if they don't diddle,
Why?
does
Why
your
would they?
wife and
How
daughter
would
have
you
to feel
know?
uncomfortable?
Are they looking at their fucking dick?
If a man that's 6'5" with bigger biceps
Do
than
you look?
walks into your
Do,
wife's bathroom,
do you
you
look
think
at?
she's gonna feel comfortable? Oh, I'm not talking
I,
about genitals. It has nothing to do with that. If a
no, you know. You
6'5"
want to know what's
trans
going to happen?
woman
Hey,
with
let
biceps
me let me
bigger
tell
than
you
your
what's going
head
to
walks
happen.
into the bathroom.
What's let me tell you what's going to happen. What's going to happen is that person's going to walk in the bathroom, and guess what? They're going to use the fucking bathroom, and then they're going to leave. That's
And you're
crazy.
fine with your
That's
wife
what's going
feeling
to happen.
uncomfortable. You're fine with your wife feeling uncomfortable.
She's
Or
not
maybe
going to
your wife.
feel uncomfortable.
Okay, so
Why
then
is she
she's
going to
okay
feel
with men
uncomfortable?
pissing next to her. She's okay with men pissing next to her. Are you uncomfortable
People are
when
going to come in the
are you
bathroom.
uncomfortable when a 7-foot man with a 30-inch biceps walks right next to you and starts, being aggressive, or just comes right next to you and starts, doing whatever? Are you
That's completely
intimidated?
different.
No, it's
Aggressive,
not.
yeah. If
No,
somebody's
it's
being
not.
aggressive,
Not even
what do you
aggressive. Not even
mean?
aggressive. You're
The majority
intimidated by
of
larger
people.
men. Are you
Why do
intimidated
you
by
go
men
into
that are
the
larger
bathroom?
than you? Are you intimidated when you
No,
see a guy that
no,
walks up
not
to you?
generally.
Well,
No,
then you're being
I would be.
disingenuous because you are.
No, I'm not. No,
Yeah,
because
you
if a
are.
guy, how, dude, I'm 6 foot. There's plenty of guys that are bigger than me. Okay, if somebody comes to the stall next to me when they're pissing, and they go to piss, I'm not going to be uncomfortable. I'm
And
not
you're
that
7 foot
weak-willed or weak-minded.
tall. And you're
What are
7
they
foot
gonna do?
tall.
What are they doing? They're
Anything
pissing.
they
Who gives a
anything
shit?
they want to do with you, they can do. What are you gonna do to stop them?
Are they doing that?
They could if they wanted to. It's your
So I'm
instincts.
gonna go off
It
of.
is natural human
I'm gonna go
instincts.
off
If you
of
see
what
someone
could
bigger than
happen
you,
or
it's
what.
natural human instincts. If you see someone bigger than you, on average, you're gonna either raise an eyebrow, be intimidated, or whatever you want to call it. But you're gonna be looking at that
No,
person,
I'm
maybe
not.
wondering what they're gonna do.
No, I'm not so scared all the time. You might be. I'm not.
No, it's
If
not
some
about
guy
being
walks
scared.
into
It's
the bathroom,
about being aware
it
of your
is. You
surroundings. No, it's
seem
about being
very
smart.
fucking scared.
I'm
It's
six
not
foot
about being
five,
smart.
220 pounds, and I, carry everywhere I go. So what am I scared about?
I don't know. You seem to be scared of large men coming in the bathroom pissing
I'm the
next to you.
largest man
That's what
walking
you've
into the
made it.
bathroom. I'm the man that walks
Well,
into
are
your
you?
bathroom and you shake and piss.
Oh, I'm gonna be intimidated by you.
I mean, you would be if we met
That's
in
what you're
real
saying?
life.
Would I be? Okay.
Yes, I'm
All
much
right,
bigger
well.
than you. I'm a much big. You would be up to my nipples,
You.
basically.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's no possible way that I could contend with that.
There's
I'm not
not.
self-confident enough. Oh,
You're
okay.
not.
All right. It's just GG for me. Okay. I
It
should
is
be
GG for
anytime
you. It's GG
a
for
man walks
99%
into
of
the
the
bathroom,
population.
he could be 6'1", 5 more pounds than me, and oh my god, I gotta move stalls. I gotta lock the
Like
door.
I
I gotta
said, it's
make
not
sure that
about being
this guy
intimidated.
doesn't.
It's not even about
It
being
seems
intimidated.
to
It's just
be.
about
It seems to
checking your
be.
surroundings and seeing what's around you. It's about being smart.
What I usually plan my life around is what most commonly happens. And most commonly, I don't know if you know this, but when somebody walks into a bathroom, they either shit or piss. That's what happens most of the time. Okay? That's what happens. It doesn't matter if they're man, woman, trans. They come
I
into
get
a
it.
bathroom to shit
You
and
don't
piss.
think that any women are scared of trans people coming in there? Because I know multiple women in my Discord that have to go to work every day, and when their one trans employee comes into their bathroom, it makes them feel very, very uncomfortable. So you're saying none of their opinions and none of their thoughts matter?
Wait. Is that trans person sexually assaulted them or raped them?
No, but why should they have to feel uncomfortable in their place of work? All because
Well, why
a trans
are they
person
uncomfortable?
Because it's a
Why are they
man coming
uncomfortable?
into their bathroom. It doesn't look like a woman. It doesn't act like a woman. It looks like a man.
Okay, let me ask you, are you uncomfortable if a woman was using the bathroom next to you? Are you uncomfortable about that?
Yes.
Why?
Because
Who
why is a
cares?
woman in the men's bathroom? I'm worried for her safety.
Why does that matter?
And I'm also weirded out because bathrooms were based on sex. Why did we even segregate the bathrooms to begin with? Why do we even have separate bathrooms? Why did they invent separate bathrooms?
There's a lot of countries that don't do that. There's a lot of countries that don't.
Like what country?
Okay.
What country?
A lot of countries in Europe.
I've been to Europe. What country? I've lived in Europe. What
Let
countries?
me look that up. All right. I could
Now
be
there are European bathrooms where they share a sink and a place to wash their hands where everyone can see into it. The whole public can see into the bathroom stall. Sure. And we have unisex bathrooms and we have family bathrooms where you can expect to see other people from time to time, but sure. And it doesn't matter if it's in Europe or not, because the way Americans are used to it, we separated them out for a reason. It wasn't just because we don't want men and women fucking each other in the bathroom. It's because, there's a real reason that we did it.
I'm saying like places like Scandinavia, Sweden, Denmark, they have a lot of these.
I've never been there, but they probably have separate bathroom stalls and they probably share a sink and a place to wash their hands.
Some places in France and Germany, not
Never
always.
seen that in France or Germany.
Countries,
I've been there.
A lot of older buildings like in Italy and Austria, Switzerland.
They're probably single-use restrooms.
No, they're shared bathrooms, but they're not shared. They're shared bathrooms because of like limited resources.
Are they shared bathrooms or are they shared sinks? Are they shared the whole bathroom or parts of the bathroom?
Shared bathrooms is what I read.
And either way, that's not what's normal in America. We have different customs all around the world.
Sure, we do. I'm asking you why. What about you and a woman using the bathroom next to you? What about that makes you personally uncomfortable?
I'm going to worry for her safety, and I'm also going to wonder why.
Why? Because are you going to sexually assault her, or why are you worried about her safety?
Because other men have, like you mentioned before, men have a higher rate of sexual assault.
Okay, so you're just worried about. You just think that like bathrooms in general are just gonna have to like.
What other reason other than for personal safety were bathrooms separated? And hasn't sexual assault skyrocketed in France and Germany? I'm not even gonna say it's based on those bathrooms because it's probably not, but I'm just reading a comment.
Give me 1 second. Hold up. I'm at work.
You're good. If you need to hop off, let me know.
No, I'm good, but I'll have to move the camera. I can't really. Well, I'll put it right here. Okay, does that work?
Yeah, that works.
Okay. I don't know. I don't think so. I think that if you want my honest understanding of why they were segregated to begin with is because we just had early on in our country we just assumed that it was improper, but. That women shouldn't be doing. I would say that it had less to do with, especially back then. I don't think that they were too concerned about women getting sexually assaulted in bathrooms.
You don't think there were sexual assaults back then in the bathroom? Is that what you're saying?
No, there were. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that we were less concerned about that back then than we are now. That is something that we are more concerned. I'm going to have to turn the camera off for a second. That's okay. But I would assume that we were less worried about that back then than we are now. So I would say that that's the primary reason probably why they were segregated to begin with. But can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
I agree with this comment right here. It's because men can be creeps and dangerous.
Sure, I agree. I think that that's not limited to the bathroom. In a bathroom, probably in a public space, it's probably a lot safer.
Really, 25% of all sexual assaults occur in public places. You think it's safer in a public place? I mean, obviously that isn't stopping anyone.
Literally, when you say 25%, the minority of sexual assaults occur in a public space, yes, that statistic literally backs up what I'm saying. Which is that the minority of sexual assault
very high number.
Happen. Okay.
It's not like we're talking about 2% or 1%.
Yeah, I'm saying that it is statistically safer to be in a public space. You're probably less likely to get sexually assaulted in a public space. Public bathrooms, these bathrooms are public spaces. So I would say that the danger comes more at home. What I'm saying is that you guys can consistently worry about problems that are made up in your mind that aren't actually happening wide scale at all. It is.
Well, what about the voter fraud? What about the Save America Act? You don't think there's enough voter fraud because you said, widespread. Do you think? Yeah, we're not going to agree. But do you think there's Are you going to say the same thing about the Save America Act, that there's not enough voter fraud to happen for it to be a concern, for it to change an election?
What happened? What happened when Trump took all those court cases about voter fraud to Republican judges,
Well, I'm not talking about 2020.
independent
I'm talking
judges?
about 2026. I'm talking about today. Do you think there's
Uh,
enough?
so you think that what's funny to me is that I never heard about voter fraud. How old are you, by the way?
I'm
You mind me
25.
asking? Okay, so you've only ever known Trump, but before Trump, let me tell you about a time before Trump. Okay, we didn't talk about voter fraud. Nobody talked about it because it
So you
wasn't a
ignored
problem.
it.
Trump,
It was a problem.
no,
It's
it
always been
wasn't.
a
It
problem.
wasn't a problem. It was not a problem.
Okay,
If it was
okay.
a
Well, I'll go
problem,
ahead and agree with you and say it's not a problem. But what about today? Once again, you're pivoting off topic. What about today? Do you think there's enough voter
I'm
fraud
not.
to change an election?
No, what I'm saying is that Trump just came into office and said a bunch of shit that wasn't true. The
Well,
point
just
is
answer
that
the question. Do
the,
you think there's enough voter fraud that could change an election? Do you think there's enough evidence for enough voter fraud to change an election?
no, I would say probably not. No.
Even though that you know that back in I think it was 2000 or 2001 when George W. Bush won the election, he won by a slim majority of 500 votes. Even though
Nobody claimed
500,
election fraud then.
yeah, I know, but 500 votes can change an election. Is that true or
Yeah,
false?
did that happen in these recent
No, just
elections?
answer the question. Did 500 votes decide an election?
No. Yes, it can. Yes, but that didn't happen in these recent
Okay,
elections.
but there was 400 illegal alien immigrants found voting in New Jersey that casted ballots. Therefore, there's enough evidence of election fraud that could
During
particularly,
Al Gore and George
possibly,
during Al
yes,
Gore,
Al Gore versus George Bush, yes.
there was 400 illegal immigrants that voted during that time.
No, I'm not. No, the point is, the point is that Democrats out there are saying that there's not widespread voter fraud. We don't need
Yeah, there's
widespread
not.
voter fraud to change an election outcome. You just need
Yeah, you don't need.
500
Yes,
people.
yes, correct. You're right. You don't need widespread voter fraud when there's not a widespread of votes between candidates.
Okay, but 500 votes can change an election,
So
and they already
yeah,
found 400
that would
illegal alien immigrants that voted in New Jersey unlawfully.
for George Bush and Al Gore, or what are you talking about?
Yes, that's when it changed. It wasn't illegal alien immigrants, it was American
No, no, no.
citizens, but the point is they
The
casted
four
ballots. The point is
so
500 votes can change
you're
an election.
you're alleging that Al Gore had more of a claim than George Bush
No,
did.
that's
That's
not
what
what
you're
I'm
saying. That you're
electing. No, I'm saying that George Bush won by
why?
500 votes, and 500
Okay,
votes
so
can change an
how
election.
does
So
that
why? Huh?
how does that tie into 400 immigrants voting, illegal immigrants voting for, I guess,
Because
Joe Biden? Is that your claim?
I'm showing you that there's enough. I'm not saying for the 2020 election. I'm just saying for future elections that there's enough evidence that there's enough voter fraud that it could possibly change one of our elections. Do you agree or disagree?
Okay, if we have a close election like that, and that there is also evidence that there was voter fraud,
So
then I'm sure
it's a
we would
possibility
fix.
of happening.
Yes, I don't like to write again. I'm somebody that is not. I'm not necessarily concerned about. We should write laws for this very specific 1% of the population, like trans people, to prevent them from, and not even 1% of the population and 1% of them who are interested in athletics. I'm not interested in writing laws for such like little reasons. If there is voter fraud, why then did all of Trump's cases get
I'm
shot
not.
down? And
Trump
why did we
didn't. There
have
was
the
never
longest?
once
Listen,
again, I'm not talking about the 2020 election, but I will
okay,
say,
I understand you're talking about it broadly as a concept.
no, I'm not talking it broadly as a concept. I'm focusing in on should we pass the Save America Act. And also, we have a super chat right here that says, bull crap, I'm 54. We talked about voting fraud all the way back during Reagan's terms.
No, we did not. We
Well,
did
he's
not.
54. He's older than you. Were you
He's
alive
older
during
than
Ronald
me. I'm
Reagan?
almost 40.
Were you?
No,
Were you?
I'm almost
how?
40.
Okay, so you weren't even voting back then when Ronald Reagan was president.
I wasn't alive. Yes, you're right. Yeah.
Okay, so then you
So,
don't even remember
I
it.
understand. I understand that, but we have not been. That's not a widespread thing. Now you can't find a clip multiple clips.
But we
I
already
should-
agreed it doesn't have to be millions of people. It doesn't have to be thousands of people.
I'm
We
saying
already agreed
you
that a
can't-
couple hundred votes could change an election. So why shouldn't we require voter ID for people to vote in states like California?
How do you get registered to vote to begin with?
Well, yeah, obviously you need an ID, but how do you vote in California?
There you go.
How do you vote in California, though? You familiar with the voting process?
No, I live in Virginia. I don't live in
Okay,
California.
so
I
the
don't know
voting
how-
process. Okay, here's how it works in California. I'll give you a run through.
Okay.
You
All right.
go into the voting booth, you give them your name, and you give them your address. You don't even need an identification. Once your name and address match your voter registry, they give you your ballot. You don't need any form of ID. You can lie about your identity and you can lie about your address and you can get a ballot. Why wouldn't we want to fix something like that?
I bet you guys are all about like state rights or state laws, right? Why don't you have California change that? That's
Because
their
California
law. That's
doesn't
how-
want to change that, and it's multiple other states. We're trying to make a federal mandate. Didn't you tell me before that federal law precedes state law? Weren't you a big
Yes, it does.
advocate for
I'm
that?
I am. Yes, absolutely. I'm a big advocate for federal law, for big government.
And I'm a big advocate for covering up fraud and scheming.
Okay, I would be too if that's happening broadly, but it's not. We've
already agreed that it doesn't have to happen broadly to change an election. You already conceded to that argument. It doesn't have to happen broadly to change an election.
Sure, but that hasn't happened. None of the elections where we started talking.
But it could happen. If it hasn't happened, it could happen. Okay, so why not pass the Save America Act? What's your pushback on passing that bill? Do you have any pushback on it?
I want you to understand the key difference here. Again, and to address that other guy's comment earlier, I can't go online and find like 400 clips of Ronald Reagan talking about voter fraud and stuff like that. It doesn't exist. Okay, he did not talk about it that much. Secondly, Trump has alleged voter fraud and has shown nothing for it throughout his entire
He showed
presidency.
300,000. He showed how many hundreds of thousands of votes were counted improperly in Fulton County, Georgia, where they lied.
No, he did not.
Oath.
That went
yes,
to
he
court.
Did.
No,
it didn't go to court. They admitted it this year. They admitted it in 2026 that there was 300,000 uncertified, unlegitimate votes in the 2020 election in Fulton County. I will send you the court case. This was not in 2020. This was not in 2023.
You just said it didn't go to court.
It did.
You just said it didn't go to court. It did go to court. And what happened? And what happened?
They admitted that it was voter fraud. What do you mean happened? Nothing has happened. They admitted that it was voter fraud.
So they admitted that it was voter fraud and they just didn't do anything about it.
The Fulton County government. Well, what do you want them to do about it? The Fulton County government admitted to 300,000 votes being improperly counted, not going through the full verification. It is.
Did anybody go to jail?
No,
because
guess what? The local government didn't arrest anybody. There was no one to claim accountability for this.
What does that even mean? What you mean the local government didn't arrest anybody?
Who's gonna claim accountability for it? Who's gonna claim accountability?
Did they have somebody that committed crimes?
Yeah, but who the fuck knows who? Who knows who counted it? Who's going to admit to it?
I would imagine the plaintiff bringing the charges to court, or the suit to court about these.
There hasn't been any criminal charges. They admitted to it, and nothing has happened. There's an investigation going on.
So was it civil court? Was it civil court?
I can do a quick Google search for you.
I don't know. Usually, when people go to court and they find that these people have committed crimes, usually those people get charged with stuff. It's kind of weird if it didn't happen.
The FBI seized 300,000 votes in Georgia, and it's an ongoing investigation into the matters. This was in February of this year.
Oh, that's crazy.
But they've already admitted to it. They've already admitted that 300,000 votes were not properly certified with signatures and the whole full process.
Let me look into it. You said there was a case, right?
Here, I'll send you all the documents and the information.
That's crazy. Judge rejects Justice Department's unreasonable attempt to get names of the 2020 election workers from Fulton County.
Okay, so how are they going to arrest anybody if they can't even? If the judge is rejecting accountability for the court case, how are they going to arrest anybody?
Judge. It looks like. Hold up. Yeah, it's because when they filed this, they wanted the Trump wanted the names, personal telephone, residential address, and other identifying information for every single person that worked in the Fulton County election.
Why can't
They
we
didn't
have it?
have somebody. They didn't
Why can't
have
we have
somebody.
it?
You can't go to court and just say, I want the names and addresses of all these potential people that might have wronged me. You need to
That's
have
kinda
somebody
how
that.
crime works. That's kind of how crime works.
No,
If you're
that's literally not
it
how it
is.
works.
If you're in a
No,
gang,
it's not.
can I talk, or are you just gonna
Uh-huh.
screech and scream? If you're in,
You're screeching and screaming.
I'm not screeching and screaming. If you're in a gang,
I don't know.
if you're in a gang and one of you does a crime, they're not just gonna say. Sometimes they don't just say, "Oh, only this person committed a murder." They're gonna arrest all of you at once, and they're gonna figure it out later. That's exactly how it works.
That's if you catch if you witness a murder and you don't
No,
see
you
who
don't have
does
to
it.
witness
You might.
anything. You don't have to witness anything. All you have to do is have probable cause of potentially a crime being committed. That's how it works, and they arrest everybody. That's literally
No,
exactly
that's
how
not
it
true.
works.
No,
It is
that is
true.
not true.
It is
No,
true.
it is not. You don't just go, oh, these 20 people might have been involved in this homicide. I'm going to arrest all of them.
Well, if
That
they
is
knew
not
they were
how that works.
guilty, if they're in a gang and they're in an organization together, absolutely.
No, that's not. You don't know if
Abso-fucking-lutely.
they're guilty. No, you do
You're
not.
right. You don't know if they're
guilty.
That's right. That's why you don't know if they're innocent
you-
or guilty.
you don't
so you
arrest them.
all of them. You arrest all
No,
of them
you
with probable
don't.
cause.
No,
Then
no,
what do you do? You're
arrest
telling-
them. You bring
not
the
what
people in for
happens.
questioning. You question people. You don't arrest them.
Sometimes
Are
they're
you crazy?
arrested. If there's
No,
enough-
no, they're
if there's
not.
a little bit. Yes,
If-
they are.
If
Yes,
you
they
have
are,
no,
all
if you
the time.
no,
Do you want me to give
No,
you an
that-
example? I can give you example after example after example.
I just as a FYI, I used to work law enforcement. You don't go and just willy-nilly say this person might have committed murder.
I never
so
said
I'm going to
willy-nilly.
charge this person.
I never said willy-nilly. If there's the
No, you
the
have
Crips-
to have again. You have to have probable cause.
I already
but you
said
can't
that.
have-
I already said you already
Yes,
have to have probable
But you
cause.
said probable cause for a whole group of people. That's not how that works. You don't go,
It
oh,
is.
this 20 people. There's one guy that's
involved
dead
in a
who's been shot
homicide.
by one.
We
there's
don't know
one
who
guy
fired the
that's
bullet.
dead.
We don't know who fired the bullet. They all had guns. They're all at the scene of the crime. Are they all going to jail or not? If they're all at the
No.
scene of the crime and someone murdered someone,
No, they are not
going to
all
jail?
going to go to jail. No,
Yes, they are.
They are not.
Most of the
No,
time,
they're not.
yes, they are.
No, they are not. They are
Okay,
going to get
I'll give you case
questioned by the cops.
examples. I'll give you case
Okay.
examples. You're going to have to give me a second. Give me examples of gang cases where one person shot someone and the whole crew got arrested. Let's see. I'm sure
If
there's
you get
many of
arrested-
these cases.
If you get arrested, that means that you're getting charged with something. Otherwise, you're just being detained, and that's something entirely different, right?
Okay, the Bradley Coleman Quick Trip shooting. In 2023, blood members of the Nye Train Bloods, a gang pulled up to the gas station and attempted to steal a car belonging to Bradley Coach. One of the men was shot and killed. All three individuals were arrested, even though only one of them was a shooter and one of them was a getaway driver. So yes, they were
Yeah,
all
I imagine-
arrested.
No,
because they're all,
no, I would imagine all those people committed the crime of vehicle theft, and then one of them probably got charged for shooting somebody.
What about the getaway
If that's what
driver?
you're
What
alleging.
crime did he commit?
Literally stealing a car, being involved in that conspiracy to steal a car. I don't know exactly what the charge would be, but
they
if you're,
attempted. They didn't steal the car. They attempted to, and they killed the guy and fled in their own vehicle.
yeah, that's a crime. So they're all charged with a crime because
so
they
is
all
election
participated.
fraud. They all participated in
can't
election fraud.
The difference is you can't. They witnessed all these people commit a crime. You understand? In that court case that
And
you
they
referenced in Fulton
witnessed
County,
all these people to commit voter
no,
fraud.
they did not.
Yes,
They
did.
did not. They did not. They alleged that there was some voter fraud happening in Fulton County, and instead of having a charge that they were going to say this person specifically did this person
I
did
will
this.
even concede for sake of the argument. I'll even concede for the sake of the argument. Okay, so shouldn't all the names be given so they can be under investigation and questioned, like you previously said?
They don't. They can go question those people.
They don't
can
have
go
the
question
names.
them.
How can they question them without the names?
go to Fulton County and they can look through the records.
You
This
just
is all
said they
public
denied
domain
them.
stuff.
You just said the judge denied them. The
No, I'm
names of
saying
the
that they can
people.
look into the election, the votes. They can look into that stuff.
But they can't question the people that were there during the election fraud, even
I'm
though
sure
you
that
just
they
said.
can.
But you just
I'm
told
sure
me
that
they
they
were
can.
rejected. You told me that the judge said that they can't request the names
Yes,
of the
I'm-
or the
yes,
addresses
the
of
judge
the people.
through legal means, the judge shot them down and said, "No, I'm not going to
Okay,
give you
so-
all the names, the addresses, all of this stuff from all these people that you are not even alleging were involved in fraud. You just want every single employee that works in Fulton County counting elections or counting votes."
So how are we going to know
There's-
who
there's-
did the fraud if you're refusing to give up information or the names of the people?
How do
are we
you
gonna
know that there's how do they even know that there's fraud to begin with if they don't have some way, like, what? I don't understand. How are they coming to that conclusion that there's fraud happening there? What did they do
Because
to get to that conclusion?
300,000 votes that were not properly certified. That's election fraud.
What does that mean? Not properly certified. What does that mean?
That means it didn't go through the 3-step process of certifying the votes.
Let's look it up. What?
It varies state by state. As you know, every state has their own election process. So it depends on what state you're referring to. How can we question people if the court denied giving the name?
That's because it's. I'm reading right now. They wanted information from 3,000 people.
Well, then tell us who did it.
Do you think that they should just?
They should be able to
What do you
question
mean,
as
tell us
many
who did
people
it?
as they need. They should be able to question as many people as they need to.
If you're taking somebody to court, you should have an
taking them to
idea of
court.
who
No,
you're.
we're not taking them to court. They're
That's-
just under investigation. Maybe they'll be in a lineup.
It was a
Maybe
subpoena.
they'll ask a couple questions. Okay,
It was
so
a
they
subpoena.
denied that. They denied the subpoena
Yes.
then. The judge denied to sign the subpoena, correct?
Yeah, they shot it down. Yeah.
Okay, so then how are we going to arrest anyone? You asked me, why wasn't anyone arrested? Now you have your answer.
I mean, did the police, did the FBI, did anybody look into it? I don't know.
Yeah,
it
the FBI
seems
found
like
voter fraud. They don't know who did it because, like you said, there was 3,000
Did
people
they?
there. There was
They
3,000 people there. How are we going to know who
they
did it
found-
if we can't investigate them?
Let me look this up.
They have evidence to get a subpoena. Somebody said you need evidence to get a subpoena. Yeah, they have evidence. And if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you like and subscribe. If you want to debate, please
Again.
join the Discord server. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
So this is the suitcase claim, right? Fulton County
I think so, yeah.
allegations popularized by Donald Trump and his legal team, which claims surveillance videos showed illegal ballots being pulled from suitcases at a State Farm arena, were thoroughly investigated by state authorities and found to be completely without merit. The containers in question were standard.
Case, then. That's not the same case.
That's Fulton County right there.
It's a different case with Fulton County. 300,000 votes, Fulton County, illegitimate. You can just look it up.
Numerous independent investigations, multiple audits, and a full hand recount of all have all affirmed that there were no problems with Fulton County. It says that there were some procedural errors, but these did not affect the final
that's voter
vote
fraud.
count.
Yes, that's voter
did-
fraud. Wrongfully
Not fraud if
certified.
it's a
Yes, wrongfully.
No, it's not-
Illegally certifying votes is fraud.
well, first off, no, it's not. There has to be intent to defraud. So no, you can't just if you
The
make them
intent
like
was
if I'm
they purposely did not check
No.
them.
all right, Euro, let me walk you through this. If I am working counting votes and I accidentally make a mistake and I put one vote, this is an honest mistake. I just marked it down on the wrong piece of paper, right?
and I put one vote that went from Biden to Trump, okay, that's not fraud. You understand that, right?
It's only fraud if you do it 315,000 times by mistake,
Uh-huh.
and you
There
and you
was,
purposely
again,
let it happen.
what I'm reading, and you can choose to believe this or not, but there was numerous private investigations,
Well, then why did
numerous
Fulton County admit
independent,
to it?
because there was nothing to admit to because it didn't happen because you're just listening to Donald Trump.
No, here I'll send you the source. Did Fulton
Do you
County?
think? Do you? Let me ask you. Do you think that the 2020 election was legitimate? Do you think that Biden won that election?
As we discussed before, as you conceded to, voter fraud is possible, and it's possible for it to change an election.
Do you think that Biden won that election fair and square?
No, because illegal alien immigrants have been caught voting. That's not fair and square.
Okay.
Even if it
So
didn't change the election,
So I
even
want
if
you.
it
I want you
didn't
to
change
understand.
the election, allowing illegal undocumented immigrants to vote is not fair and free.
I want you to understand that, for one, that doesn't happen en masse, and two, I want you to understand
Once again, you already
all of-
conceded that it doesn't matter if it happened en masse. It can change an election. So stop saying it didn't happen en masse. That's a horrible talking point. You already know it can change elections.
it has not changed elections, but sure, I guess potentially in the future it might change election results. And what will we do if that happens?
We'll
What will we
probably
do?
never know. It'll probably be pushed under the rug.
What do you mean we'll never know? If there's legitimate fraud, voter fraud, then the person that lost that has legitimate claims would take those claims to court. Court would investigate, or they would have an investigation done already.
Why has the federal
but they would go to court
never looked into it themselves?
because
it's only done
nothing
by third-party
happened.
sources. Well, then why
Nothing.
are they
A lot
scared
of
to
those
look
got.
into it? Why are you so
A lot of
scared to
those
look
got.
into it then? On
I'm
a federal
not.
level. Okay, then let's look
I'm
into
not.
it. Then let's look
You know
into
what's
it.
funny is that your president the other day was talking about how the voter
You mean
fraud
your
and all this
president?
stuff, and
Your president.
no,
He's
your-
your leader.
your
He
president.
controls your life. He has control over your life, and there's nothing you can do
anyway,
about it because you refuse to leave the country.
He was talking about how there's all this voter fraud and all this stuff, and he's like, we're going to release all these documents that show that there was voter fraud, and then he released those documents, and you want to know those? And this was like last month, I think. It was on a Thursday. He was talking about it. You know those documents? What they showed?
I don't know what you're talking about.
He made a public speech where he talked about how they were going to release classified documents talking about the 2020 election, about voter fraud, and he released those documents saying that they're going to show that there's widespread voter fraud. You know what those documents showed? That there was a large amount of meddling by Russia to promote Donald Trump.
No,
So he
that's
released
not
his
what
own.
it showed.
this
You're
guy's-
making shit up.
That's what it
never
showed.
happened.
That's what it.
Then show
Yes.
evidence. Send me the
Yes.
source. Send me the source. Send me the source then.
I will look it up right now for you.
And either way, multiple countries have meddled in our elections before. And I'm pretty sure the Russian collusion bullshit was actually more pushing on the Hillary Clinton side. Let's see. Hey, thank you, Beetle. I appreciate that, brother. Thank you for those gifts. I mean, what would you even consider widespread voter fraud? What about the fact that illegal alien immigrants are getting counted on censuses? Is that not a problem for you? Is that not mass voter fraud?
What do you mean they're getting counted on censuses for what? For the House of Representatives for their membership dispersion?
No, for the electoral colleges.
Sure, I would say that's bad.
Yeah, okay, that gives California 5 more electoral college points. That gives several other states multiple electoral college points. Is that not evidence of widespread voter fraud when all of our censuses are counting 20 million illegal alien immigrants?
Yeah, that's true, maybe, but I doubt that that's true.
It is true. It's actually in the Constitution. The Constitution should be
No, no,
amended.
I'm saying if it's
Article 1, Section 2, in the 14th Amendment, the Constitution explicitly mandates the total number of persons in each state every 10 years to be counted on the census.
yes, I understand, and that will increase the electoral votes that somebody gets in that state. What I'm saying is, if there is actually whatever crazy amount of
That
dead
is mass
illegal
illegal
trans
alien
immigrants that you're saying are actually voting.
Trans.
Understand?
Now we're
Listen,
talking about
No,
trans
I
illegals.
just want to cover my bases with you. Okay, it's always just I think you're probably pro-Israel, but it's always the illegals and the trans people that are causing the problems, right?
No, trans people don't really cause that much problems, but definitely illegals cause a lot of problems in this country. That's
Okay.
undeniable.
Yeah, is it? Hey,
There are
anyway,
some small issues with trans. How do you feel about Israel?
I don't give a shit about Israel.
Does that mean you like them, you hate them, you want to stop a relationship, or does that mean you're indifferent?
I think that Israel's doing bad things, and I think that Hamas is doing bad things. So I just don't care. It doesn't even matter at this point. If you're somebody that actually cares about Palestinians and Gaza and all that stuff, well, we got Trump, so those people are fucked. They're dead. They're just gonna die because Trump doesn't give a fuck about them either.
Wait. Trump gave $6 million to Gaza in aid, in food and resources and aid.
That's a lot of money. 6 million over there.
I mean, Israel gave way more, but people don't like to talk about that either. How about the hundreds? Go ahead.
I'm just saying I don't care, because there's also Hamas is constantly striking into Israel and all that stuff, and Israel's constantly fighting with Middle Eastern countries. I don't like religious extremism in any form, right? I don't think that you should eradicate an entire civilian population because you're getting attacked by terrorists, but I also don't like.
Are you trying to say they're eradicating all Palestinians and Arabs? Is that your claim? I don't really want to get into this, but go ahead.
I would say that when they initially responded to October 7th, like, that's understandable. I think anybody has to respond when you get attacked. In terms of as a country, you got to respond. Otherwise, people are just going to walk all over you. But I would say at the point where you're like, there was like I think it was a 4-month complete halt on aid going into Gaza, and by Netanyahu, and Trump didn't really seem to care to want to stop that.
I'm not familiar with that.
That's a bit different.
I'm not familiar with that. But back on topic a little bit, we have someone that dropped the super chat, and they have a question for you. How about the hundreds of thousands of illegal alien immigrants who benefited from New York State and who were able to vote for a mayor in the election?
I mean, isn't that New York State's law? I'm assuming that's what you're saying.
I mean, that's up to them on a state level, on a local level.
Listen, I'm pro democracy, right? Like you guys should be. If that is the majority of that country voted, or the majority of that state voted to have that law enacted, and it's enacted because of that, then whatever, that's their deal, right? I wouldn't say personally, but that's also not for federal elections.
So they're just fucked. So New York City is just fucked now. There's nothing they can do about it. I mean, how do you feel about New York City? I want to get your take on.
That's for local elections, right? It's not for federal. You can't vote as an illegal alien. You cannot vote in federal elections.
Well, they've been caught doing it before.
Yeah, that would be a crime. Okay, and they would be punished for that. That would be a crime.
I haven't heard any. I've only heard of a small amount of them being charged and put in prison.
I'm pretty sure that they would just be deported.
Yeah, probably. But I mean, most of the time they get deported unless they do a crime, and then they do the prison time, and then they get deported.
Right. No, you're right on that.
But how do you feel about New York City in general? Do you like politicians like Zohan Mandami, or how do you feel about that situation?
No, I'm a social democrat, so no, I don't necessarily care too much for. I mean, some of the stuff that he's done is fine, but I don't like the supporting of some of these DSA candidates that talk about, like, we want to abolish, like, prisons and borders and stuff like that. I think that's crazy.
Well,
So
I'm
I
gonna
would
have
say
to
that,
agree
like,
with you.
yeah, but that, again, you think that that is my party. That's not my party.
No,
Sauron,
I
Mondami, and the
recognize that.
PSA are not my
I
party.
separate the. I can
I
separate the difference 100%.
those those people in my mind are just as much of a threat when it comes to liberalism as MAGA is, as you guys are. You
Well,
guys are
the
just as much
liberalism
of a
that you
threat.
believe in, I mean, I'm not sure about you, but the liberalism
You
that
know,
the majority of people believe in is not true liberalism. Liberalism is all about being open minded and taking in new ideas, is it not?
no, liberalism is your ability
What
to
is being
live
a
your
liberal
life.
mean?
I'm talking about liberalism as a concept. The word liberalism is your ability. If I'm going to put it broadly, it would be like your ability to live the life that you want to live, uh, and having others be able to coexist and live the lives that they want to live within reason. Right? Like you couldn't use your freedom, your rights to deprive other people of rights for no
But you
reason.
want to deprive
But
people
we're
of their platforms and their voice, like you want to
but
deprive Joe Rogan of his voice and his
again,
platform and his constitutional
there's
rights. That's not very
yes,
liberal.
but there's always going to be some amount of rights that are going to be um, withheld,
Taken away.
suspended, taken away.
That's
Yeah,
not
sure.
liberalism.
No, but there is going. No, because the idea is again, if I, and I'll give this example. If I lived in a society and I said, you know what, everybody has the right to commit murder. Everybody has that right. You can, if you want to commit murder, you can. Then people wouldn't be able to live their lives very well because they would always be worried about going out and getting killed, right? So you have to restrict some rights to allow other rights to flourish, right? Like your ability to go outside, your ability to speak your mind, right? Like if I just allowed somebody to murder somebody for no reason, and you go out and say, well, I don't like this thing, and somebody's like, well, fuck you, and they just shoot you, right? That's pretty bad. So you have to restrict some rights. That's why we have prisons. That's why they exist, right?
Okay.
To allow society to have a broader
Sure.
enjoyment.
What is your ideal policies that you would like to implement? Like what are some things that you're advocating for?
If you're my broad policy or the things that I look for when I'm voting for a candidate would be like, I don't mind higher taxes if that goes towards like infrastructure and healthcare and things like that. I like social welfare programs because I believe in a capitalist society, you're going to produce some winners in a capitalist society, right? Through capitalism, you produce some winners and they win hard, right? You got people like Elon Musk, they're like a trillionaire, right? So, but because of how capitalism works, you also are going to produce a lot of losers. And so I think that if you're going to win hard and you're going to enjoy that economic system and, you know, all of these earnings, it should also be baked in there that we should have a lot of social welfare programs to take care of the people that are losing the capitalist system.
So
I
you don't
like
think everyone
capitalism.
can be successful? Is that what you're saying then? You're saying because
No,
so
that
many people are
that
successful, there's going to be losers. I think losers are made from their own circumstance and
no
their
this
own
no
mentality
that's
and
just literally
not
just
pulling
not
themselves
true.
up.
Has there ever been a society where everybody is a winner, like a capitalist society
No,
where
not
everybody's a
everyone
winner?
wants to be a winner. That's the
No,
main factor.
no,
Not everyone wants to be a winner, but anyone that wants to be a winner can be a winner. Anyone in America
no.
that
That
wants to
that
do
is not
good for
true.
themselves can. Anyone can go
You
into
can
construction. Anyone can become, do this, that, the third. Anyone
sure,
can be a blue collar worker and make at least a decent living. I'm not saying a millionaire, but they can make a decent
yeah, but you're
living.
not. Again, you're not going to be a winner if you're going into whatever construction, all that stuff that you said. Like
I
I
mean, you
work,
can be
I
a
work.
winner in construction if you do it for 5 years and then open your own construction company. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're going to need people that work at that construction company. So by that, what we just talked about, you're going to have people that work under you. Those people are going to
And what
not
about
be
places like
winning.
New York City, where they incentivize people to not work because you're going to get $900 a week in unemployment if you don't work?
I don't think that that is happening broadly.
It's
Again,
happening in New York.
no, I don't think that nobody wants the United States. Our social welfare programs are not like that great. If people
Nine
want to
hundred
work,
dollars a week. $900 a
In-
week. You can make
in New York.
more. Yes,
In New York,
yes.
it's nothing.
You-
That's nothing.
That's
nothing.
more than McDonald's. I agree, it's nothing, but that's more than McDonald's. That's more than most minimum wage jobs. That's more than probably a lot of average jobs in New York City and New York State.
I doubt that. I doubt that in New York City that's more than the average
Okay,
job.
New York State.
Highly.
New York State then.
What I'm trying to say is that you can't. There's just not. Nobody's ever gonna always win. Like you can't have a society where everybody's rich. That just doesn't happen. Well, at least
Well,
not
there are
capitalism. That's
societies.
not gonna
No, there is societies where everyone's rich.
No, there's always going to be varying degrees of
Sure,
wealth.
sure.
And
Varying
under a
degrees of wealth.
certain, yes, but if you have a large portion of your population that's under a certain threshold of wealth, these people are impoverished, and you should, as the people that are winning in capitalism, you should support social welfare programs for the
No,
good
I
of your fellow
support.
man.
I
for the-
support them. No, I support them. But I
No,
think
you don't. You voted for
No,
Trump.
I do.
You don't support them.
No,
No, you
I
don't. You
do.
voted for Trump.
I just think lazy
You don't.
people that don't want to work shouldn't get anything. They should starve.
Yeah, but Trump is actively taking away social welfare programs. From
Like what?
everybody.
Name one. Name one.
Snap.
Snap is still active. Anyone can get Snap, and Snap is a state-ran program anyway. Or isn't
They
there a
took
Snap that's
away-
state-ran program? Maybe I'm wrong
they
about
took-
that.
It's federal, but they took away a ton of money.
Snap
from that
is an
program.
example. Yeah, they took basically for Snap, anyone that's not applying for jobs is not going to get welfare.
Yeah, but okay, that's the point. Is that there are going to be people that are impoverished, that are sick, that can't work.
Then you're on
let 'em-
disability. Then you're on disability.
You're gonna okay. You're on disability. That's again.
Or
I'm-
your
I'm-
unemployment insurance. Your what is it called? Your
These-
insurance when you get hurt on the job. What is it called? Workers insurance, workers comp. Yeah, workers comp. Then you're on workers comp or you're on disability. And also, I think
Yeah, but
American rights should only be reserved strictly for American citizens.
Yeah, but that's a separate argument entirely. Again, I'm just saying, like, disability, you can't like live off of disability very well. Okay, that's not a very good lifestyle. You're gonna be
Okay.
impoverished still. What I'm trying to say is that I want more of those things.
What I'm
I
trying to
want
say is that Trump
those
didn't take
people-
any away from welfare, and as far as those people go, those people's families should take care of them.
They're literally actively talking about cutting funding to Social Security right now, which is another.
No,
social
they're
welfare
not.
program.
They've been saying this for
They
over.
literally
You've been saying this for over a year and a half. You Democrats been saying,
Mike
"Oh,
Johnson-
Elon Musk, Elon Musk." A lot of these welfare
No, no.
programs should be cut for these people, and the money should be reinvested towards the people that really need it.
Yeah, let's see. Over 3.5 million people have lost SNAP programs.
A lot of them were illegal
there's-
alien immigrants, and a lot of them were not applying for jobs or trying to better their circumstances.
I'm sure they were. Yeah, the 3.5 million of them.
Yeah, there's 40 million
It's a lot of
people on
people.
food stamps. Do you really think 40 million Americans need food stamps? The U.S. already spends over $100 billion a year on disability.
So there's cuts to Medicaid as well. That would be another one. There's cuts to
Yes, there was massive
child
fraud
care.
in Medicare.
There's-
What
there's-
child care? What
there's-
do you mean child care? Be specific.
let's see. Froze nearly 10 billion in child care and social services funding for several Democratic-led states.
Yes, because they're investigating fraud right now, and they're investigating the sanctuary cities.
Okay. What
And
I
by
would
the
like
way,
to see.
if you love Democrat states, if red states are so bad, then why do you live in Virginia? That's like you were literally complaining about how bad red states are and they're shitholes and all this and that, but you literally live in a red state. I think that's hilarious that all Democrats criticize red states, call them shitholes,
that-
say no one wants to live in there, and then they live in red states.
This is a purple state. the
Okay,
way.
maybe it's a purple state, but historically it's been a red state. And what do people think of when they think of Virginia? They think of Republicans, they think of conservatives.
Do they?
Yeah, they think of cousin
don't think
fuckers.
That's West Virginia, buddy. That's the wrong state.
Okay, all right. Let's see we already they were doing massive fraud. VA spends $257 billion on disability a year alone.
Okay.
So we're already spending a
Yeah,
lot of money on disability. And by the way, if there is a mass amount of people that truly deserved these social programs and their programs are getting cut, they would be on CNN or Fox News screaming their eyes out saying,
they have been. They literally
no, they
have
haven't.
been.
Okay,
There's been
send me a
so-
video.
Yes,
Send me a video of somebody.
Just
I've
you
never,
wanna see, like, a
ever,
video?
ever seen it. I've never seen a single person come online and say they got their benefits removed for nothing.
there's a lot of them are Trump supporters too.
Okay, they should have their benefits cut. I really don't care what their political affiliation is. It doesn't change. Just because you tell me someone's Republican or conservative doesn't mean my perspective is going to change. Cut their benefits. Cut their
don't you
benefits.
care about-
No,
don't
I
you
don't
care
care
about
about
your-
lazy
your
people. No, I
fellow-
don't care about lazy people.
You keep saying that, but not all these people are lazy.
40 million people are not disabled in America. How many people in America are disabled? Not 40 million.
You want me to look that up for you?
I mean, I'll look it up for if you want. I mean, let's see. How many Americans are disabled?
I actually imagine it's probably more than that. I could be
You think
wrong, but
You think it's more than
That's-
like 15% of the population? Actually,
Yeah, I
here,
would-
federal. Okay, I'll go ahead and concede on that talking point. But as far as what a disability is, a disability can be considered ADHD or something like that, or a learning disability can be considered. Let's look up physical disabilities. Have physical disabilities. Let's see.
so
Take a look.
we're just gonna like cross out like schizophrenia, bipolar disorder.
You can still work with bipolar disorder. Maybe not schizophrenia, but
dementia, Alzheimer's. All these things.
there is only 9 million adults that are completely dysfunctional that cannot work in America.
It's crazy because I just typed in how many people in America are physically disabled, and it's saying 45.8 to 70 million people.
That, like I told you before, that's people with ADHD. That's including learning
no.
disabilities and other things.
No. You're right. This is including both. About 1 in 4 says some type of disability. Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know. You're gonna have. I don't know why that number is crazy.
15 to 20% of Americans don't have a disability that prevents them from working. That's what a super chat says.
Okay. So out of the 45 million people, 15% of them don't have a disability that prevents them from working. But that legislation, from my understanding, is pretty blanketly like across the entire spectrum of people with disabilities. So all of those that have disabilities that can't work are just fucked, and we're okay with it.
9 million Americans can't work. So why is there 45 million people on food stamps?
Like some of those people probably work and maybe work part-time, not full-time. Maybe they have other issues going on. I don't know. Again, I'm just saying that, like, I don't know why this is a crazy take.
Do you think the welfare system is abused or no? You don't think anyone's abusing the welfare system? You just think the benefits are not good enough?
Again, this just comes to proportionality. I don't think that the majority of people are abusing the welfare system. I'm sure that there are some people that are abusing it. I would imagine it's the minority of welfare in the United States is from people that don't deserve it, right? Or like abused cases, if that makes sense. But the majority of people probably that are on it probably do need it in some way, shape, or form.
Like they do
Would be
need
my
it
guess.
because they don't want to work?
No, they probably do need it because they are working and not making enough, would be my guess.
Okay, so why don't they go become a welder or go become a construction worker? Is it just too difficult for them to pull themselves up by their bootstraps and work a little bit of a more difficult job to earn more money?
Yeah, I mean, if you have like a house and kids and stuff like that, you might not be able to go to school and afford it.
You don't need to go to
So
school to
yes.
become a welder.
Oh, you don't? You can just
There's
show up
self-taught
to a
welders out there. Most welders are probably taught by some kind of education, but there are plenty of self-taught welders and construction workers out there.
where are you gonna go? You're just gonna go buy the welding supplies and then go like self teach yourself how to weld and then hope that somebody's gonna
I mean,
hire
some
you even
that's
if you don't
literally
have.
how it worked. That's literally how it worked for
Yeah,
some
how do
people.
you?
And what about
How
construction?
often? How often do you think that that actually works for people to show up
Let's
to a
see.
welding
How
job
many weld? Let's look it
without?
up. How many welders are self-taught? Let's take a look. We
No,
can
no.
look that up.
How many? No, no, no. How many? I don't even think that you'd be able to find data on this, but how many people show up to a welding job where they've self-taught and they get a job rather than like them just hiring somebody that has the certificate or the license?
Well, obviously the statistics are not good.
It's
Statistics are not good.
probably,
Welding is probably a terrible example, but construction definitely. You don't need any kind of
I
high
would
school
say,
education or college
yeah, and
education.
you're probably not going to get paid a crazy amount working construction, if I had to guess.
Well, you can make a decent living. I mean, it depends where you. It's
When
what.
I'm saying, you guys like to say this whole thing, like, why don't you just work harder? Sometimes, okay, I agree with you. People shouldn't be lazy, but sometimes there are circumstances that prevent people from doing the things that they want to do. A lot of these people probably want to work harder, and they have some circumstance in their life that they cannot get past without aid. And with the aid given to them, there are, I mean, there's a reason why like
I'm not
countries
against all
in Europe.
welfare. Like I'm not against all welfare. Like you're getting me wrong. Like if you want to take food stamps for a
You,
month or a couple months to get back on your feet, oh go ahead, go for it. But you should not be mooching off the system for years and years and years and years. Someone in the comment section says they're getting paid $25 an hour for
yeah,
construction work.
that's probably not enough in a lot of places, depending on your circumstances. I
Depends on
get
how
paid
many
more than
kids you have.
$25. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
but
I
you
get
have
paid
four
more than 25.
kids. You're in your late 30s. You're
Yeah.
almost 40. But for
Yeah, I'm
someone that's
saying
20 years old, that's trying to, get their life together, that's not bad at all.
no, it's not bad at all, but things can happen and that can change that circumstance where that might not be enough.
I'm all for
Yeah, like
welfare. Like I said before, I wish more people that actually deserved it got a higher amount, and I wish people that refused to work didn't get any.
I understand, but I think that that usually happens on aggregate. I think most people that deserve it are getting welfare, and most people that don't deserve it aren't getting welfare.
I don't
I
think
would
that's the
imagine that
case.
I think it is the case that the minority of people are abusing the system. I would imagine that that is the case. I would imagine if you looked up like welfare fraud, the amount of welfare fraud that's happening in this country compared to like actual people that are getting welfare that need it, it's probably the minority.
I mean, have you ever heard of people doing fraud selling food stamps? That's quite a common occurrence in the hood. If you've ever been to the hood before, you would know.
I hope not. I live in Virginia,
I've
brother.
had multiple people try to sell me their food stamps before, especially in my younger
Yeah.
years, but I never bought that because I'm not going to go to fucking jail for fraud.
Yeah, it sounds bad, and those people shouldn't do that. But again, I don't know which one we say. I'm talking about like broadly. I would imagine again the minority of welfare that's given out is fraudulent. And the majority of it is to people that actually need it. Because you're only ever going to see the people that are doing that type of stuff. You're never going to see the people that are actually using it, going day to day, not doing anything wrong. Those people are just using it, going about their lives, and they're not doing anything. Again, I don't know. You just, this whole idea of like looking at videos and seeing it and having personal experiences is just silly. You just look at the numbers.
I'm not doubting that the majority of people that have it probably legitimately need it, but I also think it's a thing where there's lots of fraud going on.
Yeah, I understand. But again, then deal with that fraud, which I think that they are. But that is the minority of people. So I don't think that people should be broadly punished. We shouldn't be stripping away social welfare programs from everybody broadly or people that depend on certain ones just because there is some fraud going on. Handle the people that are doing it and leave the people that need it alone. You know, I, I don't know.
I agree, but lots of dead people were getting Social Security, Medicare, all these kinds of different
That's
things.
also just not true. That's just not
It is
true.
true. It is true. What evidence do you have it's not
I,
true?
a lot of the people, from my understanding, the way that that stuff works is a lot of people that are left on those roles that are deceased are left on, but they're marked as deceased and they're not getting Social Security.
Well, that's not what Doge found.
Doge didn't find anything.
Yeah, they did. They found hundreds of billions of dollars of Medicare and Social Security fraud.
How many
That's
people went
why.
to jail
That's
for
why
that?
they. How
How
are
many
you
people went to
gonna?
jail for that?
I'm not
Well,
hundred
name
percent
one.
sure. I'm not
I haven't
hundred
seen
percent
any.
sure. But it was
I haven't
so
seen any.
just the
I haven't
fact that
seen
people
any.
didn't go to jail doesn't mean that it's happening. How are you going to figure out where this money's going?
It's fraud. There is somebody committing it.
Okay, so you're saying because no one went to jail, it doesn't exist.
I'm saying, yeah, probably. Yes. I
Okay,
would say
so then
that if
whose Social
Doge,
Security did they cut off?
huh?
Then whose Social Security did they cut off? Whose Medicare did they cut off?
Hold up. Let me look this up real quick. If you want, I don't even know how to ask this. Let me see. Um, how much fraud did you say they found in Doge?
I mean, I can look it up.
It's funny. Okay, I'm looking it up right. So I'll show you how, or I'll read out how I asked the question, right? Because it's AI. So again, it's gonna have to take it. So I said, of the fraud that Doge found, how many charges were obtained? It says the Department of Government Efficiency has not directly obtained or filed criminal charges itself. Let's see. They referred 50 criminal charges to the Department of Justice. So out of all that fraud, they found 50.
I mean,
You telling me?
could be a crime ring, could be a crime
You
ring. But
telling
you
me
said
that?
no one was going to jail.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I could be wrong. That's more than I thought. The 50 people were charged. 50. Well, not even 50 people, but 50 charges were brought. For how much money?
Um, I don't know. I'm reading things that dispute those numbers that say they're not real, that they are real. So there's independent sources that disagree, but then again, who are you going to believe? The federal government or third party sources?
So okay, so it says I'm just seeing.
50
I'll
too
give the
many,
big
right?
number.
That's 50 too many, right? 50 too many.
Yeah, but again, yes, sure. You, the, we had we had Doge before. You understand that, right? We had inspector generals. Those that is Doge. We Trump came in and fired all the inspector generals,
Well,
made
they didn't
Doge.
find any fraud, did they? What fraud did the inspector generals find?
You can look it up. Inspector generals have been finding fraud in the federal government. That is
They're
their
not
job. That's
efficient.
what
They're,
they've
they're
been
not
doing.
very efficient about it.
You're telling me that $1.9 billion in fraud and they found 50, they brought 50 charges from Doge
I mean, there's been people
for
throughout history that did
1.9 billion?
fraud. There is fraud throughout history where one single person did more in a monetary amount than 1.9 billion in fraud.
Across all of the government sectors that Doge looked into and made cuts, they found $1.9 billion in fraud across the government and they brought 50 charges. Those numbers don't add up. That doesn't make sense.
How
That is
much
not
fraud
enough
was there in
charges for that amount of
Minnesota?
money. I
What
don't
there can
know.
be
They
one
they were
mastermind, and sometimes it's just hard to figure
are
out the
they Jewish?
criminals. Sometimes, huh? Are they
Are they
Jewish? What does that
Jewish?
have to do with anything?
I was just curious if you would say yes. I don't know. I would most right wingers I would say nowadays are going to say that they're
I'm
probably
very
Jewish.
pro-Israel and I'm very pro-Jewish. I would love to visit Israel one day.
The deep state. You guys are always there's some sneaky Jewish guy in the background controlling everything seems to
No,
be
I think
your
that's
party's.
bullshit. I think those people are retarded. And to be honest with you, I hear multiple on both sides people saying that the Jews control everything.
Yeah, and it's stupid.
9 million people do not control 7 billion people around the world. That's absurd.
See, look at that. Now you're looking at the numbers and you're making a claim that makes sense from those numbers. Why can't
All
you
my
do that
claims
with all
have
the other
made
numbers?
sense. All my
Why
claims
can't
have
you do
made
that?
sense. You just
No.
disputed them. You just disagree.
You've had to concede on a lot of things tonight.
I didn't concede on anything. I because you wouldn't drop the point, so I said let's move on. Let's bring the arguments back up. I can take. I said concede for the point of the argument, which means I have my beliefs, you have your beliefs. Let's move on. But I'm going to refrain from using that kind of wording in the future.
Okay. All right.
Well, what did I concede on?
Well, is there anything else that you wanted to talk about?
Just tell me what I conceded on, so we can make the final points.
Sure, I can. You conceded on the amount of bills that Trump wrote in his first 16 months.
I think there was about the same. I think it's about the same
compared to Biden. No, you looked it up. It was not the same.
I said it was 3 and 3. Did I not?
No, it was.
I said it was 3 and 3.
No, Biden. You said that Biden had done more in the first 16 months. That's one thing.
No, it's 3 and 3. Okay, what's another thing? I don't concede on that. 3 and 3, they were equal. But Trump passed way more executive orders, so he did way more work.
I don't know. That's the first one that comes to mind. I'll have to go back and watch it. You conceded on a few other things. I don't know.
I don't concede on anything.
So, okay.
I was just moving the conversation along because you really wanted to stick on certain things. As far as the illegal alien immigrant, I'll restate everything. I'll give a final conclusion, and then you can give your piece. Final conclusion, Trump has kept more promises than any other president in the last 30 years. Joe Biden and Trump passed around the same amount of bills in the same amount of time.
Wait. Can I ask you questions about that? You said he's made the most
more than
promises?
Any other he's kept the most promises out of any other president and any other politician.
He's kept the most. Okay. Did he build that wall that you guys wanted?
Yeah, he added hundreds of miles to the wall.
No.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
He did not finish it.
2025 and 2026, he's still working on it. He's still president, but he added hundreds of miles to the wall.
That thing is not done at all. It's not done.
Yeah, and Trump leaving
What about no new wars?
Not a new war. We've been at war with Iran for 47 years.
Oh, okay. All right.
There's been military actions. No, there's no. What do you call it when you move 6,000 troops into the Strait of Hormuz? Do you think that's an act of war? Because I do.
No.
Oh, so you don't think moving troops throughout history, moving troops to people's border has been considered an act of war?
I don't think necessarily broadly. No, I think people
broadly,
might say, "Hey, what the fuck are you doing?" No, I don't think so. I mean, people might say, "What are you doing? Why are you moving these things?" But that doesn't mean that we're at war with that country. That just means that we're moving military assets. There could be a conflict happening there, but that doesn't mean just moving around assets doesn't mean that you're at war with a country.
Well, we're just going to have to agree to disagree. I'm still waiting for you to say something that I conceded on. As far as immigration, I was right there. As far as the fraud and the voter fraud, I was right there.
You didn't prove any of those points that you made. You just said a bunch of stuff that was not backed up by anything.
I backed it up. What did I not back up?
You're like, what about this thing in Fulton County? And then none of that shit was true.
You said there was no voter fraud. It was all true. You haven't shown me a single article that says differently.
That thing was shot down by the judge because they said you are not bringing any evidence of voter fraud at all.
It was not shut down by a judge. It was not shut down by a judge. They found voter fraud, and the judge didn't want to. It was never issued in court. They denied the subpoenas to even start the investigation and to start the criminal proceedings against these people.
Right, because there was no, what do we say? Probable cause.
There was probable cause. They admitted to it.
There was not. They didn't show anything. They just said, "Hey, we think that this shit is happening. We want to see 3,000. No,
they
they say
showed
this.
proof. You haven't even heard of it. You had to Google search it and glance over the articles. You haven't looked in
they
depth
went-
into these things that
I
you're
looked at-
discussing
I
or
looked
talking
at it.
about.
No, I
You
did.
glanced
I have-
over it for 30 seconds. You didn't sit down for 30 minutes or an hour and read through these articles one by one like I have.
when that stuff was happening in 2020, I looked more into it. You're right. Yes,
This
it's been a
wasn't
while,
happening
yes.
in 2020. No, this just happened this
was
year.
happening
That's what
after.
I'm talking about. This happened in
No,
January 2026. This didn't happen in 2020. That's what I'm saying. You don't know what you're talking about.
It's just so wild to me that you can say this when like
When you
Giuliani,
haven't
his
done any of the
personal lawyer.
research.
No. Listen to me. When Giuliani, his personal lawyer, got disbarred, and when they asked him in court and said, "Hey, why did you lie about all of this fraud?" He said, "It was my First Amendment right to lie." That's what he said, and he lost his lawyer license for it.
What did he
Fucking
lie
Fox
about?
News.
What did he lie about? There was
About
voter
voter
fraud. We
fraud.
have evidence
No.
of it.
No.
If there's
he
no
lied about
voter
it. He
fraud,
said
then
in
why did
court.
3,700 illegal alien immigrants get found registered to vote
He
in New
said
Jersey?
in
Why
court.
did 300,000 votes get illegally certified in Fulton County and the government admitted to it?
Brother, he said in court.
Why did you
that he
concede to the
lied,
fact that
and it
illegal
was-
alien immigrants are getting counted on censuses and that's election fraud?
I don't
You've
think that
already
they are,
conceded.
No.
They are.
No, I said
they
that-
are. I
no, I
already
said
read
that-
you the Fed. I
no,
read you the
I said-
Constitution. They are
Nope.
counted. Yes, I read you the Constitution. They're counted in it.
Constitu-
There's no
so the
ifs and buts
Constitution-
about it.
The
Yes, the
Constitution says there are. That says there are a lot of
Constitution
dead
says
illegal
all-
aliens being counted on census.
The Constitution says every person's in America every 10 years should be accounted for in a census. Do we have to go? Do we have to pull back up the articles again?
I understand what you're saying. Yes, the Constitution says that illegal aliens should be counted in the census, and that gives more voting rights powers
It doesn't
to
say
states.
illegal alien immigrants. It says persons, which has been used in for illegal alien immigrants.
Why does the Constitution make a distinction between citizens and persons?
I don't see where it does. Where does it make that distinction? Can you quote me from the Constitution?
The 14th Amendment, it makes a claim that no citizens are allowed to
persons.
be deprived of their and citizens. Do you want me to read it for you?
Here, let me pull it up. Either way, they didn't have mass illegal alien immigration when the Constitution was written. So what the fuck is even your purpose, your point?
Why would they even make that caveat in the Constitution? Why would they not just say citizens? If they didn't are you saying that the founding fathers are stupid? Or what's the argument here? If they didn't
The argument
explicitly,
is the times were different. The times were different. That's the argument.
why did they explicitly put citizens and persons?
I would have to pull up the 14th Amendment. I've read it multiple times. I've never seen a part where it says citizens and persons.
Okay, here, let me find. Here you go. Section 1, it's literally the first part. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens. So they're saying in this section, persons that are born. So they've already established what persons are, is somebody in the country, and if they're born in the jurisdiction of the United States, in the borders of our country, they are citizens.
So then you're arguing what I'm saying.
No,
So
no.
persons-
Listen. I'm not done. Listen. They are citizens of the United States and of the state which they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges and immunities of citizens of the United States.
Do you know why they did that?
Nor
why?
nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or the property, or without due process.
It's because they're talking about slaves.
Oh, that's what it says that there in the Constitution. It says slaves.
No, persons are slaves because persons were not
Okay,
citizens
so
at the
I'll
time.
ask you
Slaves were
again.
not persons.
I'll ask you again. If they were making that distinction, why did they not just say slaves?
Because they said persons.
Why did they speak? Yeah, why? I'm asking you why. Why would they?
Where in the Constitution does it talk about slaves? Other than the amendment that was appealed and removed, there was no mention
It
of
doesn't.
any slaves. Oh, exactly. So
doesn't.
why doesn't it talk about
Yeah, I'm
slaves?
asking why.
Because that's the
asking
only people
why-
they had that were non-citizens at the time. It was just slaves that were non-citizens.
Yeah. What about the Indians?
That the Indians were non-citizens as well. It
Oh,
was
so
Indians and
we're gonna add
slaves.
those. So now
They
it's
were
slaves and
they were
Indians.
no
Oh,
Indians were.
okay.
Have you ever heard of this? The Indian Citizen Naturalization Act.
Brother, I'm asking. It's a simple question.
I'm
If they
answering your
wanted
question.
no, you're not. You're just saying, oh, when they said persons, they actually meant slaves. Oh,
They
and by
did mean
slaves, I meant
slaves and
slaves
Native Americans.
and Native Americans.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we're just gonna add shit to that. No, but what
no,
I'm asking
that's
you
what
is
it is.
again, why would they not just outright say the people without any sort of ambiguity? I can't even fucking say the word. Why would they be so ambiguous about this? Why wouldn't they just write down exactly what they meant in the
Because
Constitution?
the whole Constitution is a vague written article for the most part.
Yeah, but we're pretty. When we look at the Constitution, it's pretty clear for the most part what it means when we read it.
Okay, but you disagree with the First and Second Amendment, though. You're very vague and disagree about the First and Second Amendment. Yes, you do. You said you want to impede restrictions on people's First Amendment rights. You believe in background checks, which is against the Second Amendment rights. So this is clear as cut and dry as day.
No. How is first off, that's just like a wild, weird thing to say. How is background infringed upon? Is that what you're saying?
Shall not be infringed.
Background checks.
Yes, Florida recently. Yes, Florida has deemed background checks unconstitutional. They're being repealed as we speak, I believe. I'm pretty sure. I'll look it up real quick if you want, but pretty sure that's what I heard in the news.
United States of America, baby. Yeah, listen. We don't want to know if criminals have handguns.
They already have them. Criminals don't follow the law in the first place, do they?
Yeah, let's make it easier. It's no background checks. Fuck it.
It already is easy. There's like 20 guns per person in this country.
Yeah, so why not just make it easier? You're right. Let's just everybody. We should, you know what? We should start teaching babies at 6 months of age.
I get it. You're against the Constitution. It's okay.
I'm not
100%. Yes, you are.
I'm not against the Second Amendment.
You're not a constitutionalist.
I literally am. I do believe that largely we should adhere to what's written.
Largely. Keyword.
Yes. What I'm saying is that What I'm saying is that there are I don't know how to put this, but it is a living document. Times change, right? We can amend the Constitution.
So you want to change the Constitution? You know, well, what about the Bill of Rights? What about your inalienable rights? The Bill of Rights.
Yeah, that's part of the Constitution, and that shit can change.
The first 10 amendments are not supposed to be changed. What do you think the whole purpose of the Bill of Rights was in the first place?
It's part of the Constitution. It can be changed.
What's the difference between the Bill of Rights and the rest of the Constitution?
In terms of legal? Are you asking like what's legally different about it?
Yeah, what's different?
As far as I know, nothing. The same laws and ways to amend the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, is the same thing as far as I understand. I could be wrong on that.
So you don't see any distinguished difference between the Bill of Rights or anything else?
Are you asking me what I see, or are you asking me what the law, like how you can legally change it?
I'm asking you what you see.
What I would say is that you probably shouldn't change most of those things. No. But again, when we're talking about freedom of speech and the Second Amendment, there are probably some things that increase the safety of the public that are probably better things to do, rather than just being an absolutionist and being like, you know what, fuck background checks. But this guy's got psychosis.
Someone corrected me in the chat.
Let's give it to him.
Can I say something? Well, by the way, psychosis isn't part of your background check, and you can already lie on that. You can have had psychosis if you've never been to a mental institution.
I'm just saying, brother, I'm making the point that fuck it, let's just give everybody guns if you're an absolutionist. That's the point that I was making.
And by the way, the thing in Florida that passed, it was not about doing background checks. It's about you can buy a gun if you already had a background check. I'm just reading this from the comment section. I don't know 100% sure, but it came from a guy that I trust in the comment section that knows a lot about laws and stuff relating to guns.
Sorry, it's not about what?
It's not about abolishing background checks, he said. He said it's more about if you've already had a background check once, you don't need to have it again and again and again and again and again every single time.
Okay, but what if you commit a crime
Well, then
in
you
between
shouldn't be
that?
buying a
Then
gun.
does that? No, does that? What I'm saying is, does that change then? If you commit a crime, then are they going to
Like
do a
I said,
background
I
check
have
on you?
no idea.
I don't
I
even know
can't
how they would
answer your
know that.
question.
Because that just seems like a silly law. I don't know.
I don't know either, but we've
You-
been on here
you-
for almost 3.5 hours. I mean, is there anything else you want to say? I got to wrap up soon.
Listen, I just want to ask you real quick, just a real quick argument, or just a real quick. I just am curious. Why are you Christian? Like,
Once
how
again, I'm
can you
not
be
here
Christian
to.
and
I mean,
support-
if you want to debate, I mean, how can you? You're not Christian, so I'm
No,
not going
I'm
to.
not-
How can you be atheist? How
Not
you think
atheist.
nothing comes from
How are-
nothing? Then what do you believe? Then what's your
No,
beliefs if you're not
I'm
atheist?
not atheist.
You're
I'm
agnostic. You don't know
agnostic.
what to believe in. Okay, so you don't know what to believe in. So you think there's something out there, but you don't know what's real or false. How can you be so confused?
No, that's not. No. That's not what agnosticism is. It's the belief in I don't know. So it
Exactly.
could be
You're
that there's a
confused.
God.
You don't know.
It could not be. No. But yeah, I'm not saying that I don't know what God to pick. That's not what agnosticism is.
How can you be an
I'm
agnostic
saying-
when Karl Marx was an agnostic and he, caused the suffering of over 100 million people via communism? I mean, this is just a stupid
because
fucking
there's a lot
argument.
of there's,
This is
no,
just a
there's a lot
stupid
of bad
fucking
people.
argument.
There's
Exactly.
a lot
so
of
what
bad
is your
people that are-
point?
that
Okay,
are
so what's
Christians
your point?
too. There's a lot of bad people that are
Okay,
Christians too.
what's your
I'm
point
saying
then? I don't understand.
my point-
This is not a,
my
a
point
debate
is-
anymore.
no. I'm asking you a legitimate question. How can you be Christian and be MAGA? How does that work?
No offense, but I'm not going to have my Christianity judged by someone that doesn't have the first clue of, Christianity or Islam.
I do.
Or
I live in the
Judaism.
South.
Okay,
I live in the
have
South.
you read the
What do you-
Bible from
It's
front
because
to
I'm
back?
not a Christian. No, I have not read the Bible from the back. I've read parts
Okay,
of it.
so then you don't know what you're talking about. We're not going to have a conversation about it because it's something you don't understand.
Okay. Why did you pick being Christian? What was it? Why are you Christian? Just curiosity.
Why are you agnostic?
Because I don't know if it's true or if it's not, because I have no evidence either way whether or not there is a God or there isn't. So I choose to be in the interim. In the
Listen, man,
intermediate
if you want
and
to
be
have
like,
a religious debate next time, we can. But this is really going into a
All right.
long debate. It's like over 3 hours now, almost 3.5
Okay.
hours.
All right. Well,
I would
listen,
love
hey,
to
man,
have you
I
on
appreciate
again,
the
though.
talk.
It was a good conversation.
Okay,
Peace
brother.
out, brother, man. Have a good evening. God bless.
All right, you too, man.
Peace
You too.
out.
You too.
Do y'all have any final questions or comments that you want to ask me before I hop out of here? I hope you guys liked, subscribed, share this live stream out there. Guys, get those likes up. If you guys want to debate, you can join the Discord down below. I'm out of here. Peace out, guys. Have a good one. Y'all got any final questions, comments, super chats that you want to answer? You can debate down below in the link. I'll just give you guys about 60 seconds. Enjoyable. Did you like it? Let me know what you thought. W or L. If you want to hop in, join the Discord down below. If you want to debate, hey, what's up, brother? MAGA. We got some MAGA up there in Canada. Get the likes up. Get the likes up, guys. What did you think? Did you like it? I did great. Thank you. The only thing I regret in that debate is saying that I'll concede for the sake of the argument, because that makes people think that they win. I'll never ever again make that mistake, because I didn't want to stay on some subject so long. If we disagree, we disagree. If we disagree, we disagree. Sometimes there's no further points to be made in different conversations. So you just have to say, okay, well, for the sake of the argument, I'll say that there is no mass voter fraud, but there's definitely enough voter fraud that could particularly change the election. Play the clip. Don't make the video members only. No, the video is definitely going members only. The video is definitely going members only. Scotty, it's definitely going members only, because you're going to clip the parts where I say, oh, I concede for the sake of the argument. But I made a lot of great points. a lot of great points. I knocked down a lot of different arguments, and I never really agreed on his perspective on anything. Saying that you concede for the sake of the argument is completely different than saying that you agree. Conceding for the sake of the argument is about, moving over to another point and proving the same point with another point that's verifiably factual. If you want the video, sure, I'll give it to you. I'll send it over to you. I'll end the stream now, guys. Have a good one, though. Any final words of encouragement out there? I'll give you guys 30 seconds. The Clinton files. Oh, here we go. Some angry Democrats had to come in here. Oh, that's a gay comment. We got a homosexual. You're welcome, man. You're welcome. That was a lot of fun.